us to new horizons. We won't give up until we find something to treasure. Run ahead without moving forward, aiming high while my sight is too blurred. Still I hear the familiar call of adventure from inside. Far beyond all the gems and stories, just behind every legend's glory, we're the ones strong enough to reach for what others never tried. Not gonna wait through empty days, made up my minds. New world awaits, find our own way, glimmering bright. Go on. The journey starts when we set our eyes as a wishes shine and crystallize. Don't stop. Our dreams will guide us to new horizons. We won't give up until we find something to treasure.
Episode 1. The story begins in Pallet Town, with 12-year-old Ash Ketchum and his partner Pikachu. They're gearing up for an exciting journey to the Paldea region, with Professor Oak, who's scheduled to deliver a lecture at Mesagoza Academy. Before they leave, Delia packs Ash a croquette sandwich for the trip. On the plane, Professor Oak asks Ash if he still aspires to be a Pokémon Master. Ash agrees, but he's still trying to figure out what that really means for him. He then recalls a talk with Gary, who suggested that Mesagoza Academy's unique program might help him find the answer. As they approach Paldea, a mysterious Pokemon flies by, catching the attention of Ash and Pikachu. They then reach the bustling city Mesagoza and make their way to the academy, where they meet Director Clavel and Nemona, the enthusiastic student council president. Nemona is a champion-ranked trainer, and has heard all about Ash. She's thrilled to meet another champion-level trainer, and can't wait to battle him, and Ash is equally eager. They hit it off instantly, so Clavel proposes that Nemona give Ash a tour of the academy. Nemona eagerly guides Ash through the academy, highlighting the various classes and facilities, and introduces a few teachers. Ash asks about Gary, but Nemona says that Gary's busy with Jacques right now, so they'll likely meet up at the orientation. Later, as they explore Mesagoza, Nemona stops at the city's central battlefield. She tells Ash that she can't hold it any longer, and challenges him to a battle. Ash agrees, keen on testing the skills of a Paldean champion. Ash and Pikachu face off against Nemona and her Palmo. Ash starts with Pikachu's quick attack, hitting Palmo directly. Pikachu then uses Thunderbolt, but Palmo dodges using Dig and counters from behind. Nemona orders Palmo to use Thunder Punch, but Pikachu catches it with Electro Web. However, Palmo breaks free using a strong discharge. Both Ash and Nemona are thrilled with the match. Nemona then commands Palmo to use Mach Punch, while Ash counters with Pikachu's Iron Tail. They're evenly matched. Palmo then uses Dig again, causing significant damage to Pikachu. Nemona follows up with Discharge, but Ash has Pikachu use an Electro Web counter shield and then launches it back with a powerful Thunderbolt, knocking back Palmo. Nemona is ecstatic, calling this a fruitful battle. She urges Ash to join the academy, seeing him as the perfect rival for her. She then prepares to switch Palmo and tells Ash that she wants to see even more of his Pokemon. However, Ash only brought Pikachu with him, bumming Nemona out a bit. Suddenly, Pikachu gets captured by Team Rocket, who followed Ash to Paldea. They quickly flee, leaving Ash helpless, unable to rescue Pikachu. But Nemona, with Cyclizar at her side, offers Ash a ride. They chase Team Rocket towards Mesagoza outskirts, managing to get ahead. However, Team Rocket remain unfazed, as they're still out of reach. Nemona then pulls out a Terra Orb to terrestrialize her Cyclizar. She commands a powerful Terra Blast attack, blasting off Team Rocket and saving Pikachu. Ash is totally amazed, and he learns from Nemona about terrestrialization and its ability to enhance a Pokemon's type powers. This new knowledge excites Ash, and has him considering joining the academy even more. Suddenly, Ash and Nemona hear a strange cry from the beach, and to their surprise, they see a Pokemon that they've both never seen before. Episode 2. As Ash and Nemona approach the mysterious Pokemon, Ash realizes it's the same one he saw earlier. The Pokemon looks weak, but Ash notices it's attracted to his croquette sandwich, so he feeds it, which helps it regain its strength. The Pokemon grows fond of Ash and Pikachu, so they introduce themselves and wonder where it came from. The Pokemon draws its attention towards a cliff, wanting Ash and Nemona to ride it. Nemona thinks it resembles a Cyclizar, so they decide to ride it to the top of the cliff. We then shift focus to a boy who just took a book from a strange lab. He encounters Ash and Nemona outside, who were led by the mysterious Pokemon. The boy is surprised and upset to see the Pokemon, who he calls Koraidon. Nemona recognizes the boy as Arven, whose parents are the renowned Professor Sada and Turo. Arven gets even more upset when his parents are mentioned, saying it doesn't matter who his parents are. Koraidon seems eager to enter the lighthouse, and Arven, noticing Koraidon's trust in Ash, allows them in for a bit. Arven shared that he and Koraidon once lived in this now abandoned lab, prompting Ash to ask about their connection to one another. Arven, who's hesitant, admits that Koraidon isn't his Pokemon, but doesn't elaborate further than that, leaving a sense of mystery. Suddenly, a device creates a thick fog in the lab, causing the group to head outside for fresh air. They're attacked by a Golduck and Rhydon, owned by Zerk and Anya from a group called the Explorers. They reveal that they have been pursuing Koraidon and they won't let it escape them this time. Arven worries about Koraidon's vulnerable state and wonders why it won't defend itself. Ash steps in to protect it, but Pikachu's Thunderbolt fails due to Rhydon's Lightning Rod ability, allowing it to counter. They prove to be formidable, so Nemona urges Ash to escape with Koraidon while she battles with Cyclizar and Palmo. Ash and Arven take Koraidon to hide in the nearby Inlet Grotto, and they have a brief moment of peace. During this time, Ash questions Arven about Koraidon once again, and why the Explorers are after it. Although he doesn't want to talk about it, Arven confesses a bit more, revealing that Koraidon once belonged to his mother, and is a Pokemon whose origin is tied to the Great Crater of Paldea. The Explorers are an organization that want control over the Great Crater, which is why they're after Koraidon. This raises even more questions for Ash. However, their talk is interrupted once Zerk discovers their location. Arven watches anxiously as Ash and Pikachu battle alone. Despite their disadvantage against Rhydon though, Ash cleverly makes Pikachu create a dust cloud to blind Rhydon before defeating it with an Iron Tail. Arven is impressed with Ash's skills. Zerk then sends out Skarmory, but their battling has disturbed a nearby Houndoom and its pack of Houndour, who attack fiercely. Pikachu struggles against the onslaught, but in a surprising turn, Koraidon transforms, knocking back Houndoom and then carrying Ash and Arven to safety, leaving Zerk to deal with the Houndour. The boys then reunite with Nemona, who just defeated Onia. Shortly after, Koraidon loses its strength and collapses from exhaustion, so the group decides to take it to the Pokémon Center. At the Pokémon Center, Arven entrusts Ash with Koraidon's Master Ball, showing faith in Ash's ability to handle it. Ash is surprised but thanks him, and promises to take good care of Koraidon. Episode 3. The group has returned to Mesagoza. Before the orientation, Nemona rushes to inform Clavel of their experience. As the boys reach the school, Ash questions Arven about Koraidon's Master Ball, but Arven is still trying to avoid the conversation. Suddenly, they spot a group of students who call themselves Team Star, pressuring a girl to join them. She refuses, and when they don't back off, Ash steps in to protect her. This annoys Team Star, so they order their Pokemon to attack, but Pikachu easily defeats them with a single Thunderbolt. As Arven praises Ash's strength, the girl gets a good look and actually recognizes him. Just then, more Team Star members arrive, but Koraidon comes out of its Master Ball to scare them away. Koraidon is really friendly towards the girl, however, it aggressively licks her face, making her uncomfortable. Arven freaks out too, suggesting Ash to keep Koraidon away from the public for now, so he does that and apologizes. The girl is shy but grateful, and introduces herself as Penny from the Galar region, where she remembers Ash as their former champion. This surprises Arven, and he now understands why Ash is so talented. He asks Ash what brought him to Paldea, and Ash shares his dream of becoming a Pokemon Master, and hopes that the school will help him understand what that means. Penny, who's feeling awkward, leaves in the middle of their talk, leaving Ash and Arven a bit confused. The boys eventually reach the schoolyard for the orientation, when suddenly, Team Star interrupts with their loud music coming from a strange vehicle, annoying the other students. The majority are too intimidated to confront them, however, so Ash steps up once again. He meets one of the Team Star bosses, Giacomo, aka DJ Vice. Giacomo thinks that the school is dull, and he's just trying to spice things up. Ash disagrees, saying that they're causing trouble. Giacomo tells Ash, however, that if he knew any better, he'd know that this school isn't worth protecting, and then he sends out his Bisharp to face Pikachu. Pikachu uses Quick Attack, but Bisharp counters with a solid Iron Head. Pikachu follows with Electro Web, but Bisharp escapes using Night Slash. Giacomo then commands Stone Edge, while Ash commands Thunderbolt. Both attacks connect, yet both Pokemon withstand it and stare each other down, ready for more action. Just then, Gary arrives to stop the fight, reminding Giacomo that unsupervised battles aren't allowed. Giacomo mocks Gary for his new assistant teaching role, and then leaves with the rest of Team Star, warning Ash that they'll settle this in the future. Gary and Ash then reconnect, with Gary joking about how Ash is finding himself in trouble before school even starts. Director Clavel then arrives to begin the orientation. They discuss the classes, introduce the staff, announce the treasure hunt, and Professor Oak gives an inspiring speech to end it off. Afterwards, Ash talks with Oak and Clavel, deciding to stay at Mesagoza Academy. So far, he's met interesting students and the mysterious Koraidon. He says he wants to work hard to understand Koraidon, hoping that it will bring him closer to being a Pokemon Master. Professor Oak is happy to hear that, and promises to take good care of Ash's Pokemon while he's gone. The episode ends with Ash and Pikachu gazing at the horizon, eager for their new adventure in the Paldea region. At the same time, at Cabo Poco, we're introduced to Liko, who's holding on to her good luck charm, excited for her first day at Mesagoza Academy. Episode 4. Ash is in his new Naranja dorm uniform, and heads to his first day of class. Jacques kicks off the school year by updating everyone's Pokédex app, and then announcing that each student will get a partner Pokemon provided by Mesagoza's sister school. While Gary distributes the Pokemon, Jacques tells Ash that he is excused to meet with Director Clavel, making him a bit nervous. At the office, Clavel introduces Ash to Professor Sada via video chat. She is here to discuss Ash's recent encounter with Koraidon. Koraidon and Sada are happy to see each other once again. Sada then reveals that she is on a personal mission right now, so she entrusts Ash with helping Koraidon recover its powers. Ash eagerly accepts. Because this is such an important task, Clavel tells Ash that Koraidon will be his academy partner moving forward, and advises him to use the rest of the period to bond with it. Back at the classroom, each student has been given a new partner Pokemon. Arven got Quaxly, Nemona got Rowlet, and Liko got Sprigatito. Liko is excited to meet Sprigatito, but the Pokemon isn't too keen on her just yet and runs out of the classroom. Liko chases after her, worried about making a bad first impression. Meanwhile, Ash and Pikachu are trying to train Koraidon, but it lacks the spirit to battle, so Ash decides to play with Koraidon instead to strengthen their bond. At the same time though, they're being observed by the explorers. Ash soon spots Liko in trouble, and he recognizes her from class, so he offers to help find Sprigatito. They search Mesagoza on Koraidon, and eventually find her sunbathing on a roof. Sprigatito was just nervous in her new setting, so Ash and Liko decide to find a quieter place outside of the city to bond with their Pokemon. During this time, Ash and Liko get to know each other. Ash talks about his love for battles, while Liko talks about her favorite rookie streamer, Needlething. They even share their dreams with one another, Ash wanting to be a Pokemon Master, and Liko aiming to understand the Terastal phenomenon, inspired by her grandmother's charm that looks like a Terra Orb crystal. Their talk is interrupted by Team Rocket, who are after Pikachu. They're quickly drawn to Koraidon, however, and now want to capture it as well. Meowth gets a crush on Sprigatito, also making her a target. They send out Cramorant and Grimmsnarl to face Pikachu, while Liko, who is new to battling, is encouraged by Sprigatito. They have a fierce battle, with Pikachu doing most of the work. Grimmsnarl uses Dark Pulse and misses, almost hitting Liko. At the last second though, her charm protects her with an energy shield, surprising everyone. Liko then sees a strange Pokemon before it turns back into her charm. While Jessie and James are distracted though, Pikachu weakens them with Quick Attack. Sprigatito then helps blind them with Leafage, allowing Pikachu to blast them off with the finishing Thunderbolt. Ash is relieved that they're safe, but asks Liko what was the deal with her charm. She isn't sure however, as this has never happened before. The episode ends with Zerk and Anya reporting the strange power that came from Liko's charm, intriguing their superior and drastically changing their mission. Episode 5. Ash just finished home economics class with Saguaro, learning about picnicking and sandwich making. This inspires Arven to share his dream of creating the world's best healing sandwiches for Pokemon. Arven has been skipping class to study the Scarlet book, which talks about the Herba Mystica, rare healing herbs that are guarded by powerful Titan Pokemon. He wants Ash to help him face them. Ash agrees, and they plan to explore the southern province due to rumors of a huge Pokemon being there. This gets the attention of Roy and his partner Fuecoco. Roy, who owns the Violet book, bonds with Arven over their shared admiration of Heath's work. Roy's favorite chapter is about the ancient adventurer with a black Rayquaza. His grandfather would read it to him all the time, which inspired Roy to want to discover legendary treasures of his own. So he asks to join Ash and Arven, which Arven accepts. After school, the boys head to Secluded Beach, where the giant Pokemon is rumored to be. They spot a large Tatsugiri, a Pokemon that's not usually found here. As the Tatsugiri gets ready to attack, the boys send out their own Pokemon. They have the advantage due to numbers, and after Pikachu's Thunderbolt, it looks like they won. Arven hopes this victory will lead them to the Herba Mystica, but instead, the weakened Tatsugiri summons Titan Dondozo. It then boosts Dondozo's power by jumping into its mouth. The boys are stunned, but Ash quickly learns from his Pokédex that this is Tatsugiri's defensive strategy. Pikachu stuns Dondozo with Thunderbolt, allowing Quaxly and Fuecoco to attack, but Dondozo fights back with a powerful Laco Tail, throwing everyone off balance. Pikachu and Quaxly counter with Electro Web and Water Gun, while Fuecoco struggles to use Ember. Dondozo breaks free with Water Pulse and uses Body Slam, but everyone dodges. Dondozo follows with Order Up though, for massive damage. It then uses Aqua Tail on Pikachu, but Ash jumps in to protect him, knocking them both into the ocean. Ash is now unconscious, but luckily, a pot of Finizen saved them, bringing him and Pikachu safely back to shore. Ash thanks them and then rushes back to help Arven and Roy. With Dondozo about to finish them off with another Order Up, Ash makes Pikachu use Quick Attack to get inside its mouth. Pikachu then uses a powerful Thunderbolt to defeat Tatsugiri and paralyze Dondozo. This allows Arven and Roy to deliver the final blow, defeating Dondozo, which makes it cough up a clear amulet. Roy excitingly grabs it and claims it as his first treasure. The Tatsugiri and Dondozo then flee, leaving no Herba Mystica. Despite the disappointment, Ash uplifts Arven, praising their performance in their first Titan battle. The Finizen cheer for them as well, and Ash thanks them once again for their help. The episode ends with Arven feeling optimistic about their next encounter, but also curious about the Titan's origin and the missing Herba Mystica. Episode 6. Ash is in art class, where Hassel has the students draw terrestrialized Professor Gibble, who has just turned into an ice type. This introduces the students to the idea that Pokemon can change their Terra types. They're excited to learn that they'll soon be using Terra Orbs in their Battle Studies class. Meanwhile, Team Rocket, who are secretly watching Ash, become interested. We then flash back to Team Rocket HQ, where Jesse and James, having completed their training, are assigned a new mission by Giovanni. They are to investigate the terrestrial phenomenon for its potential benefits to the organization, and to establish Team Rocket's first base in Paldea. The best way for the trio to get Terra Orbs is by joining the Academy, but they're worried that Ash might recognize them if they use the same Pokemon, so they set out to catch new ones. They find an old ruin, thinking it'll be great for their secret base, and inside, they meet a cute Tinkatink. Jessie tries to catch it, but it runs away, so she chases after it. Meanwhile, James discovers an empty chest, perfect for his treasured bottle cap collection. Suddenly, a mischievous Gimmighoul shows up, claiming the chest. It tries to run off with James's bottle caps, but James quickly catches it with a Pokeball to prevent it from escaping. Meanwhile, after a wacky chase, Jessie finally corners the Tinkatink and catches it. As they're celebrating their new base, a wild Spiritomb attacks the trio. Scared at first, they quickly see this as a chance to test out their new Pokemon. However, they're soon overpowered. Gimmighoul has weak moves, and Tinkatink is easily scared. Despite this though, Jessie and James keep encouraging their Pokemon. They use a combined Astonish attack to weaken Spiritomb, and Tinkatink follows with a super effective Fairy Wind. They're thrilled by their victory. Except that wasn't enough to defeat Spiritomb, and it retaliates by blasting them off. Later, the trio decides that the ruins aren't a great place for their new secret base, but they're ready for the Academy. The next day, while Ash is in homeroom, Jock introduces two new students, Jesselyn and Jamie. Episode 7. In Salvatore's language class, students must give a presentation about influential people from various regions. Ash chose to talk about two people, Professor Kukui from Alola and Leon from Galar, who had a big impact on his life. After a couple of other presentations, it's eventually Dot's turn. She nervously goes up with her Cyndaquil and talks about the Paldea region's Iono, which excites the classroom. Ash is a bit confused, but Liko explains that Iono is a popular streamer. Dot shares her dream of becoming a streamer just like Iono, but the class laughs, doubting she could be an influencer due to her shy personality. Ash defends her, however, insisting everyone should be able to follow their dreams. Salvatore agrees, and reminds the class to support each other, not to bully. The students apologize, but Penny is still worried about Dot. After class, Team Star tries to recruit Dot after her bullying incident, but Penny intervenes, fending them off with her shiny Eevee. Dot is surprised to see such a rare Pokemon. Penny reveals that she felt a connection to Dot, saying she reminds her a lot of herself, so she wanted to make sure she was okay. Ash and Liko soon joined them, wanting to check on Dot as well. She thanks Ash for defending her, and admits that was her first time publicly expressing her dream. She's grateful for their support, so she invites them to her room to share something with them. Dot confesses that she's actually Needlething, an up-and-coming streamer with about 200 subscribers. This blows Liko's mind, as she's a big fan of Needlething. She gets all nervous now and doesn't know how to act, which embarrasses Dot a little. Ash, Liko, and Penny promise to help her reach her dream of becoming as big as Iono, which makes Dot feel more confident and thankful for their new friendship. Later on, as Ash is returning to his dorm, he receives a mysterious call from his phone from someone called Cassiopeia. They know about Ash's defiance against Team Star and his supportive nature, and want to recruit him for a special mission called Operation Starfall. This mission aims to stop Team Star from causing trouble at the school. It involves challenging and defeating the 5 star bosses, something Ash is well capable of doing. Cassiopeia instructs Ash to carry on as usual until he's told otherwise. Ash accepts, but is a bit concerned, as it looks like his school life is about to get a lot more complicated. Meanwhile, it seems like Director Clavel overheard everything that transpired. Episode 8. To promote the Paldea League, the Academy has organized an exhibition battle, Nemona vs Gita, Paldea's top champion. During the battle, Ash observes Nemona's impressive skills. Although Nemona does well, the match ends due to the time limit, leaving her disappointed. Later on, Nemona shares with Ash her admiration of La Primera. She then talks about the champion rank tournament, where Paldea's champions compete for the title of top champion, and expresses her wish to face Ash there, which excites him. Gita then introduces herself to Ash, recognizing him for his achievements. She encourages him to challenge the Paldea League. However, Ash is hesitant about collecting gym badges again. Gita has a proposition, however. Defeat her now, and she'll grant him entry to the tournament. Ash eagerly accepts. It's a one-on-one battle with Pikachu versus Shiny King Gambit. Ash is surprised to see Bisharp's evolution. Gita starts with Swords Dance, boosting King Gambit's attack. Pikachu tries Electro Web, but King Gambit counters with Dig and follows with Iron Head. Realizing Gita's skill, Ash and Pikachu intensify their fight. Despite their efforts, Gita directs another Swords Dance, followed by Katao Cleave, leaving Pikachu badly hurt. He's still determined though, so Ash says that they'll show Gita the power of their bond, unleashing Pikachu's power-up. Nemona is amazed by their full power, causing her to admire Ash even more. Pikachu's Iron Tail clashes with King Gambit's Iron Head. King Gambit then charges Katao Cleave, while Ash commands Quick Attack to outspeed it. However, it unexpectedly turns into a new move. Ash is surprised, and names this unknown move Zippy Zap. King Gambit uses Katao Cleave, but Pikachu counters using Zippy Zap and strikes repeatedly. Ash then prepares for a finishing move, but Gita's King Gambit escapes using Dig. Undeterred, Ash commands a powerful Pika Papow, forcing King Gambit out of the ground. It's still hanging on though, and as Pikachu's power fades, King Gambit uses Iron Head, so Ash counters with Zippy Zap. However, it reverts to Quick Attack, catching Ash and Pikachu off guard. Gita decides to end here, saying she's eager for a rematch once they've mastered their technique. Nemona then comes with a suggestion, saying that instead of the usual challenge, Ash should test the gym leader's unrestricted teams as a gym inspector, a role that she usually fulfills. Gita agrees, saying that this will qualify him for the champion assessment. Ash is now excited for the challenge, while Nemona supports him and hopes for a future epic match in the champion rank tournament. Episode 9. Ash, along with Liko and Roy, are invited by Gary to help him study Paldea's Terra Crystals. Together, they ride Koraidon through the southern province, and along the way, Koraidon accidentally bumps into a wild Nimble, which Ash apologizes to, but Nimble remains upset. The group reach their first Terra Crystal, and Gary shares Jacques' system for ranking crystals by their Terra energy output. This crystal is ranked 2 stars, so Gary sits back to observe the group's first Terra Raid battle. They battle a Terra Grass Magby. With Ash's help, they overpower it, and Liko and Roy deliver the finishing blow. They enjoyed the battle, and are eager for more. We then get a montage of the progression through various raids, eventually reaching 4-star crystals. After collecting enough data, Gary prepares to call it a day. Just then, Nimble returns to kick Ash in the face. Before he can do anything though, Gary's phone alerts him of a 5-star Terra Crystal, prompting the group to investigate. They reach the crystal and face a powerful Terra Ghost Tyranitar. Sprigatito blinds it with Leafage, allowing Pikachu to land Thunderbolt. Blastoise then uses Water Pulse, while Fuecoco uses Bite. Tyranitar counters with Stone Edge. Pikachu and Blastoise dodge, but Sprigatito and Fuecoco are easily defeated. Blastoise then uses Skull Bash to power Pikachu's Iron Tail, pushing back Tyranitar. It angrily unleashes Terra Blast, knocking them both down. Despite feeling helpless, Liko and Roy cheer them on, boosting the team's spirit. Gary then terrestrializes Blastoise. And after dodging Shadow Ball, Pikachu traps Tyranitar with Electro Web, allowing Blastoise's Hydro Pump to defeat it. Gary then successfully catches Tyranitar. After watching their battle, Nimble is fired up, and kicks Ash once again. Ash admires Nimble's spirit, and decides he wants to catch it. He then chases it to a 4-star crystal, that terrestrializes it into a fighting type. Pikachu starts with Electro Web, but Nimble jumps high to dodge, and counters with Bug Buzz. Pikachu then uses Quick Attack, pushing Nimble back, but it retaliates with Tackle. Ash orders Iron Tail, but Nimble counters with Double Kick and strikes back. Pikachu tries Electro Web again, which Nimble dodges, but Ash quickly makes Pikachu use Quick Attack to catch Nimble mid-air and finish it with a Thunderbolt. With Nimble defeated, Ash is able to capture it with his Pokeball. The episode ends with the group celebrating Ash and Gary's new captures. Episode 10. The Battle Studies class is starting their terrestrialization training today. Dendra distributes Terra Orbs to the new students and outlines the training process. The Paldea League conducts 2 assessments, a basic test with an assigned gym leader, and an advanced test with an Elite 4 member. Until they pass, students can only use their Terra Orbs during classes, tests, or Terra raids. Ash is the exception though. As a gym inspector appointed by Gita, he is already granted full access to terrestrialization. This has Jessalyn and Jamie jealous. For the first exercise, students will practice terrestrializing their Pokemon for the first time. One by one, each student gives it a try, with Ash terrestrializing Pikachu into an electric type. Next, Dendra pairs up the students for terrestrial battles. Because Nemona's experienced, she has to sit out for today, which bums her out. Jessalyn and Jamie face off, battling with Tingatink and Gimmighoul. While Tingatink is a big crybaby, giving Jessalyn some trouble, Gimmighoul, despite its weak attacks, manages to win, frustrating Jessalyn. Next, Liko and Roy compete, using Sprigatito and Fuecoco. Although Roy has the type advantage, Fuecoco struggles to use Ember, allowing Sprigatito to win the battle. Finally, it's Ash's turn to face Amethio, a top student in the Battle Studies class. Ash uses Nimble, and Amethio uses Oshawott. Both trainers then terrestrialize their Pokemon. Ash encourages them to have a great match, while Amethio stays silent. Nimble starts out with Double Kick, doing good damage due to its Terra typing. Oshawott withstands it though, and follows with a boosted Razor Shell. Ash then directs Nimble to use Bug Buzz, affecting Oshawott, but it remains ready to fight. Ash is impressed with Oshawott's discipline. Oshawott then uses Water Pulse, but Nimble dodges. Amethio follows with Knock Off, while Ash counters with Nimble's Tackle. Oshawott then uses Water Pulse, blasting Nimble back. Ash attempts to bounce back by using Bug Bite, but Nimble is now confused, and misses. Amethio uses his chance to finish it off with Oshawott's Aerial Ace, surprising Ash and defeating Nimble. Ash praises Amethio for his skills, and says he'd love to battle him again sometime. Amethio thanks him. The episode ends with Dendra congratulating the class on their first day of terrestrialization training, and wishes them all luck on their upcoming assessment. Episode 11. It's finally time for the Academy's long-awaited treasure hunt, the independent study where students can explore Paldea in search of their own self-defined treasure. Clavel's opening speech ends by encouraging everyone to have fun, but also to remember that the Great Crater is off limits. As Ash prepares for his journey, he's contacted by Cassiopeia. They announce it is now time to start Operation Starfall to defeat Team Star, and informs Ash that a member of their intel unit will soon join him. Nemona arrives, eager for the treasure hunt, viewing her treasure as her experience of becoming the strongest. She wants to travel with Ash to do lots of training and battling together. Arven's goal, on the other hand, is to make the best sandwiches, counting on Ash's promise to help him find the Herba Mystica. As Nemona and Arven debate over who will travel with Ash, Penny joins them, revealing her role in Operation Starfall's intel unit as part of her independent study, so she wants to travel with Ash as well. Overwhelmed, Ash suggests they all travel together. Nemona's excited, but Arven and Penny aren't too enthusiastic about this. Meanwhile, now that the treasure hunt has begun, Liko and Roy have been assigned their matches for their first terrestrialization test. They decide to travel together, and although Dot doesn't feel comfortable leaving the academy, Liko and Roy convince her to join them, as it'll be a great chance to expand her needle-themed content. As for Jessie and James, their first order of business is to earn some money in order to build their secret base. As Ash's group arrives in the southern province, they struggle to decide where to go first. Nemona wants to see Ash take on a gym, Arven wants to battle a Titan, and Penny wants to take on Team Star. This causes the group to argue again, allowing Zerk and Anya to take advantage and capture Koraidon. Ash, Arven, and Nemona send out their Pokemon to battle. However, Penny does not, stating she's not a confident battler. This annoys Arven, ruining the synergy of the battle, allowing the explorers to easily overpower them. They then use a smoke device to disappear with Koraidon. The group feels terrible for allowing this to happen. However, Ash is determined to rescue Koraidon and urges his friends to put aside their differences and work together. Nemona, Arven, and Penny agree, realizing that they must cooperate to help Ash. Suddenly, Liko arrives in distress, revealing that her grandmother's charm has just been stolen. Episode 12. Arven uses his herb knowledge to treat Liko, Roy, and Dot's Pokemon. While healing, Liko reveals that a Pokemon called Ceruledge ambushed them and stole her charm. Ash vows to get Liko's charm back and believes he can catch up by riding Koraidon, but they must first rescue it from the explorers. Just then, Nemona's Rowlet returns, who had been tracking the explorer's location. It leads them to their hidden warehouse. The group then devises a rescue plan. Nemona creates a battle strategy, and Penny tries to hack the explorer's tech to release Koraidon. As they prepare to act, Ceruledge meets with Zerk and Anya, revealing its alliance with the explorers. They communicate with an unknown contact, but are interrupted by Cyndaquil's smokescreen. The explorer's Pokemon attack, allowing Ceruledge to escape with Liko's charm. Following Nemona's plan, however, the rest of the group counterattack, and after Penny frees Koraidon, Ash rides it to pursue Ceruledge. Koraidon eventually catches up, and Pikachu stops it with Thunderbolt. Ceruledge then faces Ash and Pikachu as it follows orders from a secret Explorers member. Unaware of its ghost typing at first, Pikachu uses Quick Attack, with no effect. Ceruledge follows with Night Slash, but Pikachu responds with Electro Web. Pikachu then uses Thunderbolt, but Ceruledge withstands it. Ceruledge retaliates with Phantom Force, hitting Pikachu from behind. Pikachu attempts another Thunderbolt, but Ceruledge dodges and uses Bitter Blade. Ash tries Iron Tail, but this triggers Ceruledge's weak armor ability, making it faster. Pikachu is at a huge disadvantage now. Ash has Pikachu use Electro Web on the field, however, trapping Ceruledge and landing a powerful Thunderbolt. Ceruledge is now paralyzed, giving Ash the chance to grab the charm and escape on Koraidon. Back at the warehouse, the group have successfully defeated Zerk and Anya. They then get a call from their superior, ordering them to retreat. Ash reunites with the group and returns Liko's charm. They all thank each other and promise to be better friends moving forward. The episode ends with Ash deciding to inspect the Cortundo gym, where Liko's group were headed for Roy's Terastal test, so they all decide to travel together. Meanwhile, the explorers report their failure to the organization's second in command, Hamber, who scolds them from deviating from the mission of simply observing Liko and her charm. He orders the mystery explorer to stick to the original plan, while Zerk and Anya focus on capturing Pokemon from the Great Crater. Episode 13. On the way to Cortundo, Ash and Nemona do some intense training. Remembering their encounter with the explorers, Liko and Roy want to get stronger, and ask for training as well. Ash helps Roy's Fuecoco master Ember, advising Roy to believe in his partner. Inspired by this, Roy starts to sing to Fuecoco, boosting its morale and helping it properly learn Ember. Nemona, on the other hand, trains Liko Sprigatito to improve its speed, leading to Sprigatito to learn acrobatics. Liko and Roy decide to test their skills in a Terra raid, so Ash and Nemona join them to find the Terra Crystal, leaving Arven, Penny, and Dot to prepare lunch. The group finds a 3-star Terra Crystal, with a Terra Water Paldea and Wooper. Ash and Nemona take a supportive role, while Liko and Roy do most of the battling. Wooper uses Mud Shot, followed by Poison Tail to do damage, but Sprigatito counters with acrobatics. Roy and Fuecoco follow up with Ember, burning Wooper. After Wooper's boosted Water Pulse, Liko decides to terrestrialize Sprigatito, who uses a powerful leafage to defeat Wooper, allowing Liko to catch it. Ash and Nemona are proud of Liko and Roy's progress. The episode ends with Nemona celebrating by challenging them to a battle right away, not giving them a chance to rest. Episode 14. While the others are battling, Arven continues to make lunch, with Penny and Dot assisting with the preparations. Realizing they're near the Grand Olive Orchard, Arven wants to make some olive oil, so he leaves Penny and Dot to go find some olives. At the orchard, there's commotion as wild Pokemon are fleeing from a tremor, leading to a terrified Smoliv to bump into Arven. The culprit is a Rock Terra Diglett who's disturbing the habitat, so Arven decides to protect the Smoliv. Diglett uses Dig, but Arven commands Quaxly to dodge and use Water Gun. Diglett then uses Bulldoze, slowing down Quaxly, but it remains tough and follows with Wing Attack, but it's not very effective. Diglett then traps it with Rock Tomb and prepares to finish it off with Dig. At the last second though, Arven commands Low Kick, weakening Diglett, and then Quaxly uses Water Gun to fend it off. Smoliv is grateful to Arven, and Arven is happy to have helped. He then collects the olives he needs and returns to the group. Arven works hard to make the olive oil, and eventually Ash and the others return hungry. Arven then adds the olive oil to the sandwiches, which everyone loves. Suddenly, the Smoliv that Arven saved returns, attracted by the scent of the olive oil. It seems to have taken a liking to Arven and his food, so Arven decides to catch it. Episode 15. The gang arrives in Cortundo, just in time for the Olive Harvest Festival. Ash and Roy are eager to face Katie, and after some advice from Nemona, they decide Roy should challenge her first, so Ash can observe her battling style. Before the battle, Arven suggests visiting Katie's patisserie Soapberry. They enjoy the bakery's famous pastries, and unexpectedly reunite with Jesselyn and Jamie, who are working there part-time. There seems to be some tension between them and Ash, but they eventually calm down once Katie arrives. She recognizes Ash as the new gym inspector, and Roy as her challenger for the terrestrial assessment. Katie's excited to battle them both, but needs to finish festival preparations first. Arven volunteers the group to help, however, leading to a fun baking montage. Their teamwork pleases Katie, and she eventually has the time to accept Roy's challenge. The terrestrial assessment is a one-on-one battle where trainers must use terrestrialization for the entire match. Katie sends out Tarantula, and Roy sends out Fuecoco. They immediately terrestrialize their Pokemon. Roy chants his song, encouraging Fuecoco to use Ember, but Tarantula dodges and counters with Headbutt, causing Fuecoco to flinch. Katie then tries to slow Fuecoco with String Shot, but Fuecoco's clear amulet protects it. Taking advantage of Katie's surprise, Roy commands Ember, dealing super effective damage. Roy is proud to be able to use his first treasure in battle. Katie retaliates with Skitter Smack, and then quickly makes Tarantula flee, dodging Fuecoco's Ember. It then uses Circle Throw. Roy grows impatient and starts spamming Embers, while Tarantula uses String Shot to swing and dodge. With Roy getting upset, Ash reminds him to trust his partner. Calmed by Ash's words, Roy starts to chant to Fuecoco once again. And then he commands Fuecoco to use Bite, bringing down Tarantula. Katie orders another Skitter Smack, but Roy has Fuecoco use Ember from behind. Both moves hit, leaving Fuecoco and Tarantula exhausted. They then go for a final tackle and headbutt collision, knocking both Pokemon out. The battle is a draw. Roy is disappointed that he couldn't win. However, Katie praises him for demonstrating a strong bond with Fuecoco and passes him on his basic test. Everyone celebrates Roy's achievement, and next up, Ash prepares to face Katie. Episode 16. Before the battle, Ash is reunited with Geeta, who's here to explain how gym inspections work. She says the goal is to test the gym leader's full strength, to see if they can provide a challenge to trainers for the champion assessment. She then gives Ash his official inspector badge and wishes him luck. At the gym, Ash uses his badge to properly challenge Katie. Her rules are a 3-on-3. However, Ash only has 2 usable Pokemon. This worries his friends, but Ash has been eager for a challenge. The battle starts with Pikachu versus Spidops, the evolution of Tarantula. Pikachu uses Iron Tail, but Spidops defends with Silk Trap, covering Pikachu in threads. Ash then commands Thunderbolt, but Pikachu is too slow, and Spidops hits it with Skitter Smack. Ash recalls Pikachu and sends out Nimble. Katie is surprised, but Ash advises her not to underestimate them. Nimble uses Bug Buzz as a diversion, and while Spidops blocks it, Nimble lends Double Kick. Spidops counters with Aerial Ace, causing heavy damage. Nimble retaliates with Tackle, but gets caught in Silk Trap. Katie then orders another Aerial Ace, almost defeating Nimble, but it activates its Swarm ability and uses a powerful Bug Buzz to break free. Ash then terrestrializes Nimble and commands it to use a boosted Double Kick to counter Aerial Ace. The battle is close, but in the end, Spidops is defeated. Katie's impressed with Nimble's strength and endurance, and Ash gives credit to Nemona for being such an intense training partner. Katie then sends out Vespiquen. Ash switches back to Pikachu and commands Thunderbolt, but Vespiquen uses Defend Order to weaken the blow. Pikachu then uses Iron Tail, while Vespiquen counters with Power Gem. With Pikachu pushed back, Vespiquen follows with Attack Order. Pikachu uses Thunderbolt, but Vespiquen dodges and continues to unleash Attack Order to disorient Pikachu, but Ash commands him to protect himself with Electro Web. Pikachu then charges through with Quick Attack, trapping Vespiquen in the Electro Web, and uses a point-blank Thunderbolt to defeat it. Katie's last Pokemon is Ursaring. Since it's a normal type, Ash switches back to his terrifying Nimble. Ash prepares to attack, but Katie terrestrializes Ursaring into a Bug type, making it resist Double Kick. Ursaring then uses Scary Face to slow down Nimble. Ash commands Bug Buzz, but Ursaring outspeeds it with Play Rough, and despite Nimble's efforts, it faints. Ash is now down to Pikachu. Pikachu starts with Iron Tail, but Ursaring slows it down with Scary Face. Ash then commands Thunderbolt, but it's countered by High Horsepower. Pikachu tries Electro Web, but it's outsped by Play Rough. Pikachu breaks free with a paralyzing Thunderbolt, but this activates Ursaring's Guts ability. Katie then commands a powerful High Horsepower, knocking Pikachu down. Ash and Pikachu refuse to give up, however, unleashing Pikachu's power-up. Katie is in shock, while Ash explains that this is their partner power. Ursaring uses High Horsepower, while Ash commands Pikachu to use Quick Attack, which turns into Zippy Zap. Ash is surprised to see the move again, but realizes this might be due to their partner power. Ursaring retaliates with High Horsepower, and Pikachu responds with Iron Tail. More Pokemon are pushed back, but Pikachu quickly follows with Zippy Zap. Ash then tells Pikachu to finish with Pika-Pa-Pow. Ursaring outspeeds him, landing a powerful Bug Terra Blast. However, Pikachu withstands it and defeats Ursaring with Pika-Pa-Pow. Katie congratulates Ash, who compliments her on her skills. The episode ends with Ash's friends, especially Nemona, praising him for the win, and Geeta being impressed with Ash and Pikachu's progress. Episode 17. The gang is enjoying the Olive Harvest Festival, and Liko suggests making a Needlething video about it. Dot is hesitant, but the group encourages her. Once in costume, however, Dot becomes much more confident, while Liko gets nervous around her. Needlething decides to feature everyone's partner Pokemon for better viewership, and the group agrees to lend their Pokemon, except for Penny, who's reluctant. Dot knows that Penny has a rare Eevee, but respects her decision. Throughout the day, Needlething films the festival with everyone's Pokemon, attracting the attention of Jesse and James, who now plan to steal them. The group fight back, but James's Pincurchin uses self-destruct, scattering everyone and their Pokemon. The Pokemon stick together, however Meowth is also with them, but agrees to behave after seeing Sprigatito. We then get a wacky montage of the Pokemon's journey. Pikachu and Quaxly struggle for leadership, Meowth flirts with Sprigatito, Rowlet protects the shy Cyndaquil, and Fuecoco causes trouble by stealing food, causing the group to get chased. They eventually end up at the western shore of Paldea, where Pikachu is recognized by the Potafinizen who once saved him. They offer to help by giving them a ride along the river that reaches Cortundo, where they reunite with their trainers. Ash thanks Finizen for helping him again, and after they leave, Team Rocket returns, but Geeta and Katie help easily defeat them. Dot records this and includes it in her video, which ends up performing well, and she thanks the group for letting her use their Pokemon. The next day, before leaving Cortundo, the group faces a choice: search for the Titan or tackle the nearby starbase. Ash decides they should split up, as he doesn't want to get everyone involved with his Team Star trouble. Arven agrees, as this allows him to prioritize the Herba Mystica. The group go their separate ways for now, but promise to reunite soon. Dot stays behind, however, wanting to support Ash and Penny because of how much they support her. Episode 18. Ash, Penny, and Dot make their way to the nearby starbase. As part of Operation Starfall's intel unit, Penny has done some research and shares information about the upcoming base. They will soon reach the Dark-type Second Squad, led by Star Boss Giacomo, who Ash and Pikachu remember from the Academy's orientation. Penny explains that Star Bosses must accept any challenge, and if they lose, they must give up their base and leave Team Star. Overhearing this, Team Rocket decides to help Ash, hoping to take over the base when this is over. Jessalyn and Jamie prepare to join Operation Starfall, but another student beats them to it: Clive. He apologizes for spying on them, but he has something he'd like to settle with Team Star, and requests to join them. Everyone is confused, as they hadn't met him before. Penny gets defensive, saying Cassiopeia never mentioned any new members. However, he reassures her that they have the same goal. Jessalyn and Jamie see through his bad disguise, and recognize him as Director Clavel. However, they use that to their advantage and vouch for Clive. Penny decides to trust him, and shares Cassiopeia's message. The Grunts must be defeated in a star barrage in order for Ash to face the Star Boss. So with that in mind, everyone prepares to assist Ash while he alerts the base of his arrival. The Star Grunts arrive in numbers, all sending out a barrage of Pokemon, while Ash and the group send out their own to fight back. Penny is the only one not battling and says that she'll focus on healing. She is soon ambushed, however. Dot tries her best to protect Penny, knowing she doesn't want to send out her Pokemon. However, the assault is too much, forcing Penny to reveal her shiny Eevee. This draws the group's attention, which Penny didn't want. Despite this, the Grunts keep attacking, so there's no time to acknowledge this. The group splits up to cover more ground, allowing Jessalyn and Jamie to confront Clive. They reveal they know he's the director, and ask why he's in disguise. Clive is flustered but thanks them for keeping his secret, explaining he's investigating the truth behind Team Star, and asks them to continue keeping his secret, promising a reward if they do so. Nimble is the MVP of the raid, taking down multiple dark types with Bug Buzz, allowing them to successfully complete the raid in the end. Ash thanks everyone for their help, and while Clive heals their Pokemon, the Grunts summon Star Boss Giacomo. Episode 19. Ash and Giacomo stare each other down, recalling their last encounter. Giacomo boasts that he's been eager to finish their battle and defeat Ash. However, Ash says that it'll be the opposite. Giacomo then explains the battle rules. It's a 2-on-2, starting with Bisharp versus Nimble. Bisharp uses Stone Edge, but Nimble dodges by jumping high and lands a powerful double kick. Bisharp counters with Iron Head. Nimble follows with Bug Buzz to keep Bisharp at a distance, lowering Bisharp's special defense. This triggers Bisharp's Defiance ability though, boosting its attack so it breaks through with Stone Edge. Nimble responds with Bug Bite, however Bisharp counters with Sucker Punch. Giacomo taunts Ash about Nimble's weak strength, angering Ash. They battle more fiercely, with Nimble bouncing around to dodge Night Slash and striking back with multiple double kicks. Bisharp, now exhausted, attempts one last Iron Head but misses, and Nimble wins with Tackle. Ash says that Nimble may be small, but they overcome their weaknesses with their agility. Giacomo vows not to underestimate Ash again, and commands his vehicle, the second Starmobile, to use Swift. Ash is shocked, thinking this is unfair, but Giacomo reveals that it's actually the Pokemon Revavroom. Intimidated, Ash and Nimble face Revavroom using Double Kick, but Revavroom counters with Wicked Torque, defeating Nimble. Ash thanks Nimble, and then sends out Pikachu. Pikachu uses Quick Attack, but Revavroom withstands it and retaliates with Snarl, lowering Pikachu's special attack. Pikachu's Thunderbolt follows, but it's now lacking in power. Giacomo commands Wicked Torque, sending Pikachu flying. Ash then tries to slow Revavroom with Electro Web and follows with Iron Tail. but River hangs tough and counters with Swift. Another Thunderbolt from Pikachu is used, but it's still too weak. Giacomo mocks Ash, telling him to give up, but Ash and Pikachu refuse and decide it's time to Terrasilize. Giacomo is surprised. With a boost in power, Pikachu uses a much stronger Electro Web. Pikachu then follows with a flurry of quick attacks, but River breaks free with Wicked Torque. Giacomo then commands Snarl, while Pikachu counters with a boosted Thunderbolt that overpowers the move and lands a direct hit, defeating River and knocking down Giacomo. Ash helps Giacomo up, who humbly accepts defeat and praises Ash's strength, calling him the real deal. Giacomo asks Ash if he learned how to Terrasilize at the Academy, and Ash confirms, sharing his experience from the school, making Giacomo reconsider his negative views. Clive then asks Giacomo why he stays with Team Star despite possible expulsion. Giacomo reveals that they're waiting for the return of their big boss, who they consider to be their greatest treasure. Episode 20. Obeying the Team Star code, Giacomo and the second squad leave their base, entrusting it to Clive, who plans to discuss its future with the director. Jessalyn and Jamie, however, have their own idea. Ash thanks everyone for their help once again, and heads off to face the Titan with the rest of his friends. Jessalyn and Jamie then decide to cash in on Clive's reward for keeping it secret, and propose they turn the base into a training facility for the Academy, saying they would love to dedicate their treasure hunt to a project like this. Clive loves the idea, naming it the Star Training Center, and leaves Jessalyn and Jamie in charge. With Clive gone, Jessie and James remove their disguises and reunite with Meowth and Wobbuffet. They take some time to properly explore and see what was left behind, and James finds a Gimmighoul chest, expecting treasure, but finding berries instead. He uses them to feed his Pokemon, but they belong to a small Capsicid who was sleeping inside. It angrily bites him with his spicy tooth, causing him pain. Jessie and Meowth notice James struggling with the Capsicid, which chases him around and even shoots spicy seeds into his mouth. James realizes the only way to calm it down is to defeat it in battle. With the help of Cramorant, he manages to subdue the Capsicid, which then walks away sadly. Feeling bad, James offers his own food to make up for what Capsicid lost. Capsicid is happy, and now bites James out of affection, though it's still painful. It decides it wants to join James, so he catches it, adding a new member to Team Rocket. As the trio and their Pokemon settle into their new base, they start brainstorming ideas for its future. Jessie envisions a Terrestrial research lab, where they can study and exploit the mysteries of Terrestrial energy. James suggests an actual training facility to ensure their Pokemon are in peak condition for any battle, and Meowth proposes using the base as a storage for captured Pokemon. They are then inspired by a vivid boss fantasy, where Giovanni praises them for their efforts and outlines a plan to conquer all the remaining Team Star bases across Paldea. This would allow them to have a network of hideouts and fulfill all their different base ideas. Motivated and optimistic, Team Rocket resolved to turn their fantasy into a reality. Episode 21. Ash, Penny, and Dot reunite with their friends at the Pokemon Center. Arven reveals that they found the Open Sky Titan, but struggled terribly due to the large boulders it threw at them. They tried their best by riding Nemona Cyclizar, but it wasn't enough unfortunately. With the group whole again though, they prepare to face the Titan with a brand new strategy. The next day, the group arrive at the Open Sky Titan's domain, and Bombardier starts hurling boulders. Ash, Nemona, Liko, and Dot ride Koraidon to dodge the boulders. Nemona and Liko send out Rowlet and Sprigatito to distract Bombardier, reducing its rock throws. Ash's group soon reaches Bombardier, and then Pikachu initiates the battle with a Thunderbolt. Ash then sends Koraidon to get the rest of the group. Bombardier uses Rock Throw, but Dot Cyndaquil disrupts its aim with Smokescreen, while Arven, Roy, and Penny protect Koraidon from the attack. The battle continues with the group supporting each other, and as Arven and the others arrive, Pikachu's Thunderbolt heavily weakens Bombardier. It retrieves the Herba Mystica, however, boosting its power and learning Rock Slide in the process. Quaxly, Sprigatito, and Fuecoco strike, but Bombardier counters with Wing Attack. Pikachu and Eevee climb it though, and attack from behind, joined by Rowlet's Air Slash. Bombardier retaliates with Knockoff, and follows with Whirlwind, blowing everybody back. Pikachu tries Electro Web and misses, allowing Bombardier to use Rock Slide again, defeating Cyndaquil and Fuecoco. Ash then goes for another Electro Web, giving the group an opening to attack again. Bombardier breaks free though, and uses a powerful Wing Attack, defeating Eevee and Sprigatito this time. The group is starting to feel the pressure, but Arven doesn't want to give up now that the Herba Mystica is within reach, so he teams up with Nemona to get Quaxly close. Bombardier uses Whirlwind, however, to push them back. Despite this, Nemona encourages Rowlet, pushing itself to evolve into Dartrix. It uses its new move Brave Bird for serious damage, and then Quaxly gets on top and attacks with Water Gun. With Bombardier distracted, Ash is able to Terrasilize his Pikachu. Dartrix then swoops in for Quaxley, allowing Pikachu to land a boosted Thunderbolt to defeat Bombardier. The group all celebrate their victory, and with Bombardier gone, Arven is able to reach the Bitter Herba Mystica. He makes sandwiches for everyone using the herbs, and thanks them for helping him reach the first step in his goal. Ash shares some of his sandwich with Koraidon, causing it to receive a power-up of his own. Koraidon seems a lot more energetic now, gaining the ability to run even faster. The episode ends with everyone excited to test out Koraidon's new speed, but Arven lingers behind, sharing some of his Herba Mystica sandwich with an unknown Pokemon. Episode 22. Ash and his friends have returned to the academy, and in their battle studies class, Dendra has them using rental Pokemon to showcase their skills with unfamiliar Pokemon. As each student chooses their Pokemon, Ash is drawn to an aloof Charcadet named Charlos, who refuses to cooperate. Dendra explains that Charlos once bonded with the trainer, but after they left the academy, he lost his motivation to battle. She hoped new students would cheer him up, but Charlos remains withdrawn. Despite this, Ash is determined to help Charlos. As the trainers get to know their Pokemon before battle, Ash shares with Charlos his own experiences of separation from friends and Pokemon, expressing how he works hard every day to make them proud. He encourages Charlos to do the same, and promises to help him battle in a way that honors his former friend. Touched by Ash's words, Charlos agrees to battle. The battles get underway, with each trainer having an interesting time using Pokemon they've never used before. Liko faces a Methio using Fido vs Dratini. Despite having the clear type advantage, Liko loses to a Methio, showing how impressive he is. Liko thanks Methio for a good battle, but Methio seems unamused by her performance. Then it's Ash and Charlos' turn, who are facing Nemona and Dunsparce. Nemona's eager to battle her rival once again, and says to have themselves a fruitful battle. Charlos starts with Fire Spin, trapping Dunsparce in flames. It breaks free however using Mud Slap, doing damage to Charlos. Ash then commands Clear Smog, however Nemona retaliates with Rollout. Charlos is having a hard time aiming, and Dunsparce continues its overwhelming rollout. Charlos is losing, however its Flame Body ability burns Dunsparce. Nemona then commands Poison Tail, sending Charlos flying, but Ash is able to catch him. Some of the poison seems to have affected Ash, but he's more concerned with Charlos' safety. Charlos is shocked to see how much Ash cares for him. Dunsparce then goes for another rollout, but with a surprise twist, Ash tells Charlos to use Fire Spin on himself. Charlos is hesitant, but trusts Ash, creating a fiery barrier that hurts itself and Dunsparce. This stops the rollout, so Charlos follows with a powerful Clear Smog to defeat Dunsparce. Nemona is amazed by Ash's unpredictability, and Charlos loves his battle style. Dendra, happy to see Charlos so excited, asks Ash if he wants to keep him. She thinks Charlos would be much happier with Ash, who has reignited his battle spirit. Ash loves the idea, and asks Charlos, who eagerly agrees. In the end, Ash officially catches Charlos the Charcadet as part of his team. Episode 23. Dot's video on the Olive Harvest Festival has gained her 500 subscribers. Wanting to keep up the momentum, she now wants to make a video about Pokemon battles, but isn't very skilled at them. Seeking advice, she asks Ash what makes him so good. He says the key is for trainer Pokemon to sync up like BAM, which allows them to go all boom and win the battle. Dot has no idea what he's saying. However, Ash challenges her to a battle so she can experience it firsthand. Dot's nervous, but Liko suggests recording the battle as Nidothing to include in her video and boost her viewership. Nidothing and Ash begin their battle. It's Cyndaquil versus Pikachu. Ash makes sure to send out the rest of his Pokemon as well, so they can learn from the battle. Ash lets Nidothing make the first move, and she starts with Smoke Screen to lower Pikachu's visibility. Ash quickly counters with Pikachu's Quick Attack to clear the smoke. Nidothing is impressed, but not surprised by Ash's skill. She then commands Cyndaquil to use Swift, and Ash retaliates with Iron Tail. The Pokemon exchange blows, with Cyndaquil taking more damage. Ash intentionally holds back, curious to see how Nidothing will adapt. Realizing she needs to change tactics, Nidothing commands Flame Wheel. Pikachu dodges though, so Cyndaquil uses Smoke Screen again. Ash makes Pikachu use Quick Attack to clear the smoke, but Nidothing anticipates this and commands Flame Wheel. The two moves collide, and Nidothing and Cyndaquil become fully engaged in the battle, refusing to give up. It then starts to click within Dot, as she's starting to understand the feelings Ash was describing about battles. She encourages Cyndaquil not to give up, causing Cyndaquil to learn a new move, Extra Sensory. Ash thinks this is a good place to end the battle, acknowledging Nidothing's growth. In reality, he wanted to keep battling, but for some reason, he's starting to feel under the weather. The video is posted, where Nidothing discusses the basics and the bond between trainer and Pokemon, a lesson learned from Champion Ash. The video performs well, gaining Nidothing many new subscribers. Dot's happy about the video, but more importantly, proud of her first major steps towards becoming a skilled trainer. Episode 24. Nemona's excited for another day of battling with Ash, but he's absent from class today. It turns out Ash is sick, so he visits Nurse Miriam. The poison Ash came in contact with during his battle with Nemona has caught up to him, so Miriam tells him that he needs to stay in the nurse's office for a few days to recover. Ash is disappointed, but Miriam tries to cheer him up by asking about his treasure hunt. During his stay, his friends check up on him to help him catch up on his schoolwork. Nemona is the most saddened that she can't battle with Ash. Arven wants to help him recover faster, and decides to look for herbs to make a healing soup. Liko joins him, and as they search, Ash continues to share with Miriam his experiences in Paldea, and even some of his previous travels. Inspired by their conversation, Miriam shares her dream of becoming an official health teacher, and Ash encourages her to pursue her goal. In the woods, Arven and Liko find healing herbs near a 4-star Terra crystal. They encounter a Terra Fire Toadscruel, and a fierce battle ensues. Small and sweet scent makes it hard for Toadscruel to dodge attacks. Toadscruel retaliates with Earth Power, dealing damage to their Pokemon. Liko then terrestrializes Wooper for the advantage, and orders a boosted Water Pulse to counter Fire Terra Blast. With Toadscruel weakened, Quaxly learns Air Slash in order to finish it off. Toadscruel flees, allowing them to collect the herbs. Arven thanks Liko, and praises her skills. This has her feeling confident to take on her Terrestrial Basic test soon. Arven prepares a healthy soup for Ash, who enjoys it and thanks Arven and Liko. The next day, Ash is feeling much better and is cleared to leave the nurse's office. Miriam tells Ash that he was a great patient, and he can stop by to chat anytime. Now that he's free, Ash decides to return everyone their borrowed notes, starting with Penny. Penny is surprised and flustered when she sees Ash show up unannounced. She insists now's not a good time, and Ash apologizes, saying he just wanted to thank her and return her notes. As he's about to leave, however, Pikachu notices Penny's Eevee. This then leads to a slew of evolutions emerging to interact as well, leaving Ash totally shocked. Episode 25. Ash is amazed yet curious about Penny's evolutions, as he thought she was inexperienced. Penny freaks out and quickly brings everyone into her room. Now that they have some privacy, Penny decides to confess. She reveals she is in fact a skilled trainer. Ash is confused. With such an impressive team, why would she hide her abilities? Penny hesitates, but she shares her backstory. Growing up, her favorite Pokemon was Eevee. She was so passionate about them that she was teased for it, and called Eevee Freak. Rumors even spread, saying she was so obsessed with Eevee that she even wanted to become one. The bullying made her ashamed of her love for Eevee, leading her to return to her family in Galar. There she met a friend of her sister's, who also had an Eevee, and shared their own experiences of loving her Pokemon despite what others think. This encouraged Penny to embrace her interests, motivating her to train hard with her VVs. Just before returning to the academy, after a 1.5 years of absence, Penny encountered Shiny Eevee. Seeing it as a sign of her fresh start, she managed to catch him as her academy partner. Despite her newfound confidence, however, she still hid her abilities, fearing the attention her Shiny Eevee might bring will cause her to get bullied again. She apologizes to Ash for pretending to be weak, and not being more helpful in certain situations. Ash empathizes with her experiences, and praises her for trying to overcome her struggles. He's glad they met, and now understands why she joined Operation Starfall, to stop bullies like Team Star. Penny corrects him, however, explaining that she joined Operation Starfall to save Team Star. She reveals that the Star bosses were classmates who banded together in response to their bullying experience. For example, Giacomo was the student council president before Nemona, and was bullied for his strict rules. This revelation helps Ash understand Giacomo's actions and motivations now. Inspired by Penny's courage, Ash vows to continue Operation Starfall alongside her, and encourages her to no longer hide her Pokemon. He assures her that anyone who has a problem with her passion for Eevee will have to deal with him and Pikachu. Penny feels much closer to Ash now, and thanks him for his support. After spending some time in Penny's room, Ash prepares to leave. As he steps out, however, he notices a commotion. Team Star has vandalized the school. Episode 26. Graffiti has appeared all over the academy, and thanks to her intel, Penny quickly identifies this as the work of Team Star's Navi squad. While Ash is upset about the situation, Penny reminds him that this is likely the response to being bullied. She urges Ash to help her clean up the graffiti before the director notices, as it can lead to more trouble for them. Together, they stop the grunts responsible and use Penny's Vaporeon to clean the walls. Unbeknownst to them, however, Clavel has already noticed the vandalism and decides to investigate as Clive, enlisting Jessalyn and Jamie for help. As Clive and his team defeat several grunts in battle, they try to gather information, but none of the grunts reveal their reason for the vandalism. Meanwhile, Ash and Penny encounter grunts who are talking to a student named Yusuf. He begs the grunts to take them to their base so he can speak to Don Atticus, but they rudely refuse. Yusuf explains to Ash and Penny that Atticus, the Navi squad's boss, is his dear compadre. Concerned about Atticus being expelled, Yusuf wants to bring him back to the academy. This gets the attention of Clive, who wishes to speak more to Yusuf. Jessalyn and Jamie soon discover that the graffiti contains a hidden message, revealing that the Navi squad has challenged Ash to take on their base as retaliation for the second squad's defeat. Clive urges Ash and the others to accept the challenge to prevent further trouble from Team Star. While Ash, Penny, Jessalyn, and Jamie head to Tag Tree Thicket, Clive and Yusuf stay behind to clean up the graffiti. At the base, a group of grunts try to stop Ash from challenging their boss, but Jessalyn and Jamie decide to handle them, allowing Ash and Penny to proceed. Following Ash's advice, Penny bravely uses her Espeon and Eevee, while Ash battles with Nimble and Charlos. As they fight through the Star Barrage, Jessalyn and Jamie struggle against the grunts outside due to being outnumbered. At the last second though, Meowth and Wobbuffet step in to help, turning the tide. With their support, Jessalyn and Jamie defeat the grunts, and Meowth and Wobbuffet slip away to avoid being seen by the twerps. The episode ends with Ash and Penny continuing their battle in the base, while Atticus watches, intrigued by the teamwork between Nimble and Charlos. Episode 27. As the Star Grunts fall, Atticus steps in, stopping the Star Barrage. He praises the teamwork of Ash's Pokemon, and proposes a rotation battle to test their skills. Ash has never heard of it before, but Atticus explains the format. 3 Pokemon are out, but only one fights at a time, rotating positions. Despite his concerns, Ash accepts the challenge, and he uses Pikachu, Nimble, and Charlos, while Atticus uses Revavroom, Ariados, and Grafaiai. Pikachu starts with Thunderbolt, but Atticus quickly rotates into Revavroom, tanking the hit. Revavroom then uses Flame Charge to boost its speed. Ash tries to slow it down with Electro Web, but Revavroom dodges by rotating into Ariados. Ariados uses Toxic Thread, poisoning Pikachu and slowing him down. Pikachu responds with Quick Attack, but Ariados counters with Sticky Web, creating more trouble for Ash's team. Ash is overwhelmed, but then calms down and plans a counterattack. Ash rotates into Charlos and uses Clear Smog to clear the Sticky Web. Charlos then follows with Nightshade, but Ariados rotates into Grafaiai, who's immune and uses Knockoff. Charlos stands firm and uses Fire Spin. Atticus then rotates back into Ariados, so Ash brings out Nimble for a Bug-type battle. Nimble uses Double Kick, while Ariados attacks with the Furious Shadow Sneaks. Nimble fights through it though, and after an intense clash, defeats Ariados with a powerful Bug Buzz. Atticus praises Ash for winning their Bug-type duel, and rotates into Grafaiai. Grafaiai uses Cross Poison to poison Nimble. Nimble retaliates with Bug Bite, but Grafaiai counters with a more stronger Poison Fang, defeating Nimble. Ash rotates to Pikachu, and uses a devastating Thunderbolt to defeat Grafaiai and avenge Nimble. Atticus is now down to the Navi Squad Starmobile, but he stays confident. Ash rotates into Charlos, trapping Revavroom with Fire Spin. Revavroom breaks free however with Nauseous Torque, hitting Charlos and poisoning him. Atticus then commences Flame Charge, but Ash rotates back into Pikachu to cancel the attack with Iron Tail. Revavroom uses Spin Out, but Pikachu dodges with Quick Attack and uses Thunderbolt. Revavroom then boosts its speed again with Flame Charge. With Pikachu running low on stamina, Ash commands a powerful Thunderbolt, while Atticus counters with Nauseous Torque. Revavroom is knocked back, but Pikachu goes down from the poison, leaving Ash with a poisoned Charlos. Despite being worried, Ash sees Charlos' trust in him, so he remains determined and decides it's time to terastallize. Revavroom uses Flame Charge, but Charlos endures and tries Clear Smog, but misses. Ash follows with Nightshade, but it's overpowered by Nauseous Torque. The poison is starting to catch up to Charlos, so Ash thinks on his feet and commands multiple Clear Smogs. Atticus questions Ash's skills, as the attacks keep missing, but Clear Smog eventually covers the field, slowing Revavroom and removing its speed boost. Charlos then traps Revavroom with a boosted Fire Spin. Atticus tries to break free with Spin Out, but Ash commands a finishing Nightshade to win the battle. Atticus is defeated. Ash's friends cheer as Atticus humbly accepts defeat, praising the battle and giving Charlos and Pikachu a Pecha Berry to heal from their poison. Atticus is then surprised as Yusuf arrives, urging him to return to the academy. Clive explains that he actually learned that Team Star are bullied students, which is starting to change his view on them. Ash points out how much Yusuf truly cares for Atticus, making him reconsider his dedication to Team Star, realizing they aren't the only treasure in his life. Episode 28. Atticus surrenders the Navi Squad base to Clive, who once again trusts Jessalyn and Jamie to turn it into a star training center. As Ash and the group make their way back to the academy, we focus on Liko, Roy, and Dot, who arrive in Alfornada for Liko's Terrassal assessment against Gym Leader Tulip. Liko's excited to take her first step towards mastering Terrassalization, but she's also a bit nervous, as she's grown accustomed to having her friends help her in battles and now worries about battling alone. While exploring the town, Liko accidentally bumps into a makeup artist preparing for a fashion shoot. It turns out to be Tulip, who's both the director and model for the session. Tulip's grace and confidence captivate Liko, and she immediately recognizes Liko as her challenger for the upcoming assessment. Noticing how tense she is, Tulip offers to give Liko and her Sprigatito a makeover, not just physically, but emotionally as well. During the session, Tulip emphasizes the importance of inner beauty and the bond between a trainer and their Pokemon, suggesting that Liko's connection with Sprigatito may not be strong enough yet. Flustered, Liko cuts the makeover short, eager to prove Tulip wrong in battle. The battle begins. Liko's Sprigatito faces Tulip's Girafarig, and both trainers terrestrialize. Liko starts off confidently with Quick Attack, but Tulip counters with Stomp, flinching Sprigatito and setting up Reflect. Liko attempts another Quick Attack, but now it's weakened, and Girafarig follows up with Crunch. Liko's confidence begins to waver as she commands Leafage, which Girafarig easily dodges before hitting back with Twin Beam. As the battle continues, Liko's panic grows. She starts doubting herself, thinking she only performs well when her friends are by her side. Sprigatito becomes upset, sensing Liko's lack of confidence. In a desperate move, she finally orders Acrobatics, forgetting about Reflect, and Sprigatito hesitates due to the lack of faith. Girafarig takes minimal damage before Tulip finishes the match with a final Twin Beam. Tulip calmly tells Liko that her bond with Sprigatito isn't strong enough yet, so she has failed her Terrestrial Basic test. Liko is devastated. However, Tulip invites Liko to retry the test once she strengthened her bond with Sprigatito. The episode ends with Liko apologizing to Sprigatito and promising to be a better partner to her. Episode 29. At Mesagoza Academy, Liko is still down about her loss against Tulip, and Ash, noticing her low spirits, becomes concerned. During Ryfort's history class, the group learned about the Treasures of Ruin, 4 artifacts corrupted by human emotions that transformed into legendary Pokemon. These Pokemon once caused destruction in the Paldea region, but were sealed away by enchanted stakes. Ryfort warns the class that removing these stakes would awaken the legendary Pokemon, which could cause chaos once again. After class, Roy eagerly asks Ryfort where the shrines are located, as he's now inspired to catch the Treasures of Ruin. Though Ryfort hesitates, she eventually agrees to give Roy the information, but only if Roy is accompanied by Gary, who's also investigating the legendaries for research. Gary wants to study the legendary Chi-Yu, and suggests they recruit more students to join the mission. Roy convinces Ash to come along. Meanwhile, Dot has had enough of traveling, so she immediately opts out of this trip. Liko's a bit reluctant herself, but Ash persuades her, hoping the journey will lift her spirits. To their surprise, Amethio offers to join them, citing an interest in Paldean history. The group is shocked, as Amethio usually keeps to himself, but Roy is thrilled to have more help. Meanwhile, Jessalyn and Jamie overhear their plan and plot to beat the group to Chi-Yu. The group ride Koraidon toward the Fire Scourge Shrine. To cover more ground, they split into 2 groups. Roy and Gary head one way, while Ash, Liko, and Amethio go in another direction. Along their journey to find the stakes, Roy and Gary encounter a flock of Wattrel, and Gary suggests Roy catch one to help with the scouting. Determined to add one to his team, Roy sends out Fuecoco to battle. Fuecoco struggles against Wattrel's Thundershock and aerial speed, but after a few well-timed bites and embers, Roy weakens it. He then throws a Pokeball and successfully catches Wattrel. Elated by his new capture, Roy names Wattrel his new scouting partner. Meanwhile, Ash's group pulls their first stake, and while he celebrates their success, he notices Liko is still discouraged. Ash decides to encourage Liko by sharing some of his past losses and telling her that losing battles is a part of growing stronger. Amethio quietly observes the conversation, intrigued by Ash's unwavering optimism. Liko, touched by Ash's words, thanks him, though deep down, she still feels unsure of herself. Episode 30. The search for the stakes continues, as the groups explore deeper in the northern province. Ash, Liko, and Amethio come across another stake site, but before they can retrieve it, they are attacked by a wild Bronzong. Expecting Koraidon to join the battle, Amethio is surprised to see Ash use Nimble and Charlos instead. The 2 Pokemon work together, and are able to ward off Bronzong, allowing them to pull out the stake. Amethio questions why Koraidon didn't battle. Ash explains that Koraidon is still regaining his strength, though he's vague about the details, piquing Amethio's curiosity. Meanwhile, Roy and Gary face their own challenge. Roy is eager to use Wattrel to scout for stakes, but Wattrel struggles to stay airborne for long distances. Gary steps in to mentor Roy, explaining that the wings of Wattrel generate electricity when they catch wind, but it hasn't mastered that yet. Gary suggests they practice near the ocean, where Wattrel can catch the breeze. Back to Ash's group, Amethio's curious about Koraidon's past and its connection to Ash. He starts asking pointed questions about its power, but Ash remains vague, stating that Koraidon's true potential is still unknown. Just then, a wild Zweilous attacks the group, but Amethio's easily able to defeat it with his evolved Duat. Ash and Liko thank him. Amethio's curiosity now borders on suspicion, but he doesn't push any further, and respects Koraidon's inability to battle right now. As Roy struggles to train Wattrel near the ocean, Gary uses his Electivire to demonstrate how to harness electricity properly. Inspired, Roy signals Wattrel to try once more. This time, Wattrel successfully catches the wind and generates electricity as it flies, soaring farther than before. With Electivire's guidance and Roy's patience, Wattrel locates multiple stakes. Roy feels a surge of pride for both himself and Wattrel, recognizing how much they've grown. The two groups reunite at the Fire-Scourged Shrine, having pulled all the stakes. As they prepare to face Chi-Yu, Team Rocket appears, ready to steal the legendary for themselves. Jesse and James send out their Pokemon and destroy the shrine, unleashing the legendary Chi-Yu. Team Rocket immediately attempts to trap it. However, Chi-Yu becomes enraged and breaks free with a powerful lava plume, which causes a massive explosion, separating the group once again. Episode 31. As the dust settles from Chi-Yu's attack, Roy and Gary find themselves standing before the furious legendary. As they prepare to fight, Ash, Liko, and Amethio regroup. They try to assist Roy and Gary, but Team Rocket confronts them, preventing them from reaching Chi-Yu. Chi-Yu unleashes another wave of fiery attacks. Fuecoco, Wattrel, and Blastoise attempt to fight back, but Chi-Yu overwhelms them with Ruination. The battle grows even more dire when James pulls out a Terra Orb, much to everyone's shock since Terra Orbs are only given by the Paldea League. As James prepares to terrasilize Cramorant, she bites him in excitement, causing the Terra Orb to fly out of his hands and land near Chi-Yu. This causes Chi-Yu to terrasilize. It unleashes a boosted lava plume, knocking out Fuecoco and Blastoise, with only Wattrel managing to dodge. Gary quickly sends out Tyranitar to counterattack. Since James failed, Jessie terrasilizes Grimmsnarl, gaining the upper hand against Ash, Liko, and Amethio. Liko's Wooper is defeated, so she sends out Sprigatito, but she begins to panic and doubt herself. Ash tries to reassure her, but it's not enough. Amethio calmly steps in though, giving blunt advice that cuts through her panic, saying hesitation weakens her bond with Sprigatito. She doesn't need perfection, she just needs decisiveness. His words snap Liko out of her self-doubt, and as she looks at her eager Sprigatito, she commands Leafage, blinding Grimmsnarl. This allows Pikachu and Duat to strike. With her confidence restored, Liko expertly commands Acrobatics. But even with a renewed focus, Team Rocket presses on. Liko's charm then resonates with her emotions, unleashing a surge of energy that powers up Koraidon of all Pokemon. Koraidon transforms into its Apex build, and uses a powerful Flare Blitz to easily blast off Team Rocket. However, Koraidon quickly reverts back to normal as the power from Liko's charm fades. The group are stunned, and as this is happening, Zerk and Anya quietly observe from the shadows. Back to Roy and Gary, they continue their desperate fight against Chi-Yu. Despite Wattrel's agility and Tyranitar's strength, Chi-Yu's boosted flames prove too much, and Wattrel is defeated. As Gary struggles, Pikachu arrives just in time to use Electro Web, giving Gary the opportunity to terrasilize. He then delivers a Ghost Terra Blast that weakens Chi-Yu. With the legendary finally subdued, Gary uses his Ultra Ball to capture Chi-Yu, preventing further destruction. The group returns to the Academy, where Rhyhorn is ecstatic to study the legendary Pokemon. Though Roy is disappointed he couldn't catch it himself, he's inspired by this experience and vows to train hard to find his own great treasures. In a quieter moment, Liko thanks Amethio for helping her regain her confidence. He brushes it off, claiming it was simply to get the best results, but Liko can sense that there's more to him deep down. She also shares a smile with Ash, appreciating his support throughout their journey. The episode ends with Zerk and Anya reporting the behavior of Liko's charm. Hamber is intrigued, and states that it is almost time to strike. However, they are free to go after Ash's Koraidon once again, as its full power will be a huge asset to the explorer's main goal. Episode 32. Ash, Nemona, Arven, and Penny have arrived in Artazon. Ash plans to challenge Brassius for a gym inspection battle, and help Arven investigate rumors of a nearby Titan Pokemon. On top of that, Penny's intel suggests that Team Star's Shadow Squad has been spotted in this area, aligning everyone's goals perfectly. Nemona, who's thrilled to see Ash battle again, leads the group to the gym. Along the way, they notice Brassius' sculptures displayed across town, but many have been vandalized. Penny confirms that this is the work of the Shadow Squad. At the gym, Nemona introduces Ash to Brassius, but the usually passionate artist is deeply depressed. Team Star have ruined his art pieces, leaving him unmotivated to create or battle. Brassius declines Ash's challenge, and avoids answering Arven's questions about the Titan Pokemon. Nemona grows worried, realizing if Gita finds out that Brassius is neglecting his duties, he could lose his position as gym leader. She proposes a plan to cheer him up by gathering all the Sunflora in town to create an artistic display. The group run around town and try their best at gathering the Sunflora, with a slew of wacky moments happening in the process. And after a fun montage of collecting them all, they present their work to Brassius, lifting his spirits. Nemona then suggests a fruitful battle between her and Ash to really ignite his passion. Ash eagerly agrees. Ash and Nemona have a one-on-one battle, and it's Nimble versus Dartrix. Nemona suggests Ash should practice battling against grass types if he wants to challenge Brassius. Ash begins by having Nimble hop around to confuse Dartrix before landing a tackle. Dartrix counters with Razor Leaf, grazing Nimble. Ash then orders Bug Bite, but Nemona uses Shadow Sneak, letting Dartrix strike first. Even so, Nimble hangs on and lands its attack. Dartrix retaliates with Leaf Blade, but Nimble counters with Double Kick, cancelling out the attack. Nemona then ups the pace with Brave Bird, and although Nimble tries to slow it down with Bug Buzz, it's not enough. Severely weakened, Ash thinks Nimble is down, but refuses to give up and evolves into Low Kicks. With its newfound strength, Low Kicks learns Throat Chop, impressing Ash. Nemona gets even more excited, but their battle is interrupted by Brassius. Inspired by Low Kick's determination, Brassius declares his artistic spirit is restored and accepts Ash's inspection challenge. Arven takes a chance to ask about the Titan Pokemon, and Brassius confirms its existence, but insists the challenge comes first. The episode ends with Zerk and Anya secretly watching Ash from the shadows. Episode 33. Ash's inspection battle against Brassius is about to begin, and Nemona is excited to watch. The rules are a best of 3 unrestricted battle, with 2 wins deciding the victor. The first round is Pikachu versus Arboliva. Arboliva starts with Leech Seed, but Pikachu dodges with Quick Attack and lands a hit. This activates Arboliva's Seed Sower ability, creating grassy terrain. Pikachu tries Thunderbolt, but Arboliva blocks it with Protect. Ash then uses Iron Tail, landing a hit, but Arboliva counters with Leech Seed. Pikachu strikes back with a strong Thunderbolt, but the healing from Leech Seed and grassy terrain keeps Arboliva in the fight. Brassius uses Terrain Pulse to knock Pikachu back, slowly wearing him down. Realizing he needs to finish this quick, Ash has Pikachu use Quick Attack, but Arboliva blocks with Protect. Ash predicted this though, and follows up with Electro Web as Protect fades. Arboliva tries to break free with Terrain Pulse, while Pikachu uses Thunderbolt. The attacks collide, but in the end, Arboliva faints, winning Ash the round. Brassius is amazed, calling Ash's strategy avant-garde. For round 2, it's Charlos versus Bramblegast. Bramblegast starts with Spikes, while Charlos traps it with Fire Spin. As the spikes hurt Charlos, Bramblegast escapes with Phantom Force and lands a hit. Charlos counters with Clear Smog, but Bramblegast dodges and uses Strength Sap to heal. Brassius then adds more spikes, but Charlos destroys them with Fire Spin. While Charlos is distracted though, Bramblegast drains more strength with Strength Sap. Ash commands Charlos to use Fire Spin on itself, causing both Pokemon to take damage. Bramblegast escapes with Phantom Force however, and uses Shadow Ball to finish off Charlos. Brassius wins round 2, and Ash thanks Charlos for his efforts. The final round is Low Kicks versus Sudowoodo, and Brassius is eager for this matchup. Low Kicks begins with Double Kick, using his third set of legs to boost its speed and strength, doing massive damage to Sudowoodo. Ash is amazed, and learns through his Pokedex that this is Low Kicks' showdown mode. Brassius counters with Stone Edge, but Low Kick swiftly dodges for another Double Kick. Brassius terrestrializes Sudowoodo into a Grass type however, allowing it to better resist the attack. Sudowoodo then uses Fire Punch, knocking Low Kicks back. Ash commands another Double Kick, but Low Kicks is in serious pain now. Showdown mode begins to take a toll on its body, forcing it to slow down. Brassius takes advantage of this chance and lands Trailblaze, boosting Sudowoodo's speed. Ash realizes he has to be more careful while using Showdown mode, so he attacks in a different way with Throat Chop. Sudowoodo outspeeds however, and uses Stone Edge. Ash tries to keep Sudowoodo at a distance with Bug Buzz, but it powers through with Trailblaze again. Ash decides to take a risk, and terrestrializes Low Kicks into a fighting type. Sudowoodo uses Stone Edge, while Low Kicks powers through the pain of Showdown mode and uses Double Kick. The first kick shatters the Stone Edge, and the second one lands a final blow, defeating Sudowoodo. Ash wins the battle. Low Kicks collapses from exhaustion, and Ash thanks him for giving it everything he had, noting they need more training to master Showdown mode. Brassius praises Ash's skills and teamwork, inspired to create a new art piece based on the Titan Pokemon. Arven is thrilled, and eager to learn more about the Titan. Episode 34. As Brassius works on his Titan-inspired sculpture, Nemona shares Ash's victory with Liko, Roy, and Dot. Ash's win inspires them, especially Liko, who is eager to train for her rematch against Tulip. She wishes Ash and Nemona were still at the academy to help, sparking an idea in Nemona. What if she started a Pokemon battle club to help students grow stronger? The group loves the idea, and Nemona promises to pitch the idea to Clavel when she returns. Until then, they'll need someone else to help them train. Liko suggests Amethio, who recently helped her regain her confidence. Dot declines, however, as she needs to finish a video before her uncle visits. Liko and Roy find Amethio at the library and ask him to help them train. He brushes them off, but Liko firmly states that she wants to connect with Sprigatito better, just as he suggested before. Surprised, Amethio agrees, but warns them not to waste his time. To assess their skills, Amethio has Liko and Roy battle. Fuecoco and Roy harmonize through singing, which gives them the edge, while Liko and Sprigatito struggle. Amethio gives feedback, stating Liko's hesitation disrupts Sprigatito's rhythm. He also encourages Roy to lean into Fuecoco's singing talent. Roy continues Fuecoco's melody with his attack, learning Disarming Voice. Meanwhile, Liko grows frustrated with her inability to match Roy's energy. Amethio reminds her that Sprigatito reflects her emotions and tells her to focus on understanding her partner. Inspired, Liko asks to battle Amethio for a challenge. They face off with Sprigatito and Duwat. Sprigatito struggles at first, but Liko quickly begins to trust her partner more. Amethio puts up a tough fight, but Liko begins to understand Sprigatito's feelings, helping her learn Energy Ball. Amethio ends the match, acknowledging their growth. Liko then realizes understanding Sprigatito's feelings was the key, and thanks Amethio for his help. Amethio admits that although he didn't want to help, he sees potential with Liko and Roy. He notes how Liko's charm resonated with her emotions, showing how useful her feelings can be in battle. Because of that, he'll be keeping an eye on her to see what else she can do. As he leaves, Liko smiles, feeling a spark of admiration for Amethio's quiet kindness. Back at Artazon, Brassius unveils his new sculpture, Guardian of the Stony Cliff, inspired by Titan Cloth. Arven is intrigued, and Brassius shares the location of its sighting. As the group prepares to find the Titan, Mela, the Shedder Squad star boss, arrives to apologize for her squad's vandalism. She explains that they did it to get recognition, but acknowledges that it was wrong. Brassius accepts her apology, appreciating her growing respect for art. As Mela leaves, the group are surprised to see that she has a compassionate side. Suddenly, Charlos comes out on his own and runs after Mela. Ash is confused, and he follows behind, delaying the group's Titan plans, which upsets Arven. Episode 35. Mela returns to the Shedder Squad base, preparing for Ash's arrival. Clive, already there, is intrigued to see Charlos enter alone. Soon after, Ash and his friends arrive, surprised that Clive is already there. Nemona and Arven are confused by this old guy, but Penny introduces him as a member of Operation Starfall. Clive says Cassiopeia informed him that they would be taking on the Shedder Squad. He also shares that Jessalyn and Jamie won't be joining them this time, as they're busy turning the Navi Squad into a star training center. Ash is worried about Charlos' behavior, fearing he might do something reckless. Suddenly, the group hears a commotion from inside the base. They realize Charlos has already started the Star Barrage on his own. Penny shares her intel, revealing that the Shedder Squad uses Fire-type Pokemon. With this knowledge, the group gets ready to take on the base. As Ash and his friends battle through the Star Barrage, Ash notices it feels easier than usual. That's because Charlos has already beaten many grunts, using all of his strength to reach Mela. When Mela steps out to confront the commotion, she freezes, as she recognizes Charlos. The group catches up, surprised by Charlos' joyful reaction to seeing Mela. Ash and Mela question each other about their connection to Charlos. When Ash reveals that he's Charlos' trainer, Mela becomes visibly jealous, but after seeing the trust between them, she reluctantly shares her past. At the academy, Mela was a cheerful student with a close bond to Charlos. They battled and played together every day. She would get bullied over her cute looks and personality, but Charlos was always there to cheer her up. One day in art class, however, Mela made a friendship bracelet for Charlos, but her bullies destroyed it before she could give it to him. This broke her spirit. Determined to change, Mela joined Team Star and adopted a tough new persona to intimidate her bullies. However, she slowly neglected Charlos, eventually leaving him behind, thinking it was best for both of them. Ash is stunned, realizing Mela was the trainer Charlos bonded with. Clive explains how Charlos was heartbroken after Mela left, losing all motivation until Ash helped him reignite his spirit. Mela brushes this off with a tough act, but grows jealous of Ash's bond with Charlos. She taunts Ash, questioning his worth as Charlos' trainer. This angers Charlos, making it clear that he now wants to battle. Ash steps in, determined to prove his bond with Charlos. Though hesitant, Mela agrees, hiding her true emotions behind her duty as a Team Star boss. The episode ends with Ash, Charlos, and Mela stepping onto the battlefield, with the tension between them at its peak. Episode 36. While Ash and Charlos are confident, Mela seems conflicted and sends out Salazzle. Charlos starts with Fire Spin, but Salazzle dodges and counters with Sand Attack. Charlos leaps into the air to avoid the attack, but Salazzle uses Incinerate, knocking Charlos to the ground. Charlos follows with Clear Smog, clearing the sand. Ash then commands another Fire Spin, trapping Salazzle in a vortex. Salazzle retaliates with Incinerate, knocking Charlos down. Mela hesitates as she wants to battle for Team Star, but doesn't want to hurt her friend. Ash notices and says they want to be taken serious, as Charlos uses Nightshade. Mela responds by commanding Salazzle's Gunk Shot, but Ash uses Clear Smog to counter it. Mela commands one final Dragon Pulse, while Ash commands Fire Spin, and as both moves collide, Charlos learns Flamethrower to defeat Salazzle. Impressed by Charlos' resolve, Mela sends out the Shader Squad Starmobile, and vows not to hold back anymore. Revavroom uses Blazing Torque, knocking back Charlos, but he hangs on and counters with Flamethrower. Revavroom's Speed Boost ability kicks in as it uses Screech to lower Charlos' defense. Charlos responds with Nightshade, but Revavroom dodges and uses Swift. Using Clear Smog, Charlos limits Revavroom's speed boost. Mela then retaliates with a devastating Overheat, leaving Charlos barely standing. With Charlos severely weakened, Ash considers switching, but Charlos is determined to win and chooses to stay in. Suddenly, Charlos' eyes glow a fiery blue, intensifying his flames as he uses a powerful flamethrower before his eyes go back to normal. Ash is shocked, while Mela is in awe of Charlos' resolve. Ash then decides it's time to terrasilize. Revavroom uses Blazing Torque, but Ash has Charlos use Flamethrower on the ground to dodge. Revavroom then prepares to use Swift, but Ash makes Charlos use a spinning Fire Spin, creating a counter shield that traps Revavroom. Ash and Mela then prepare for a final clash, Revavroom's Overheat versus Charlos' Flamethrower. Both attacks collide, but thanks to Charlos' Terra Boost, Flamethrower overpowers to defeat Revavroom. Mela is defeated. As Charlos collapses from exhaustion, Ash thanks him for his hard work. Mela accepts defeat, her facade breaking as she apologizes to Charlos for neglecting him, and acknowledges his strength with Ash. Charlos forgives her, and Mela regains her composure, telling Ash to never let Charlos lose. Ash promises, and invites Mela to visit Charlos anytime, making them both happy. Clive continues to understand Team Star better. He initially thought that the Starmobiles were for an attack on the school, but Mela reveals that they were created for Operation Star. She says they wouldn't understand, but for her and Team Star, it's a cherished memory that they will always treasure, leaving Clive intrigued. With the Shader Squad defeated, Clive and Mela return to the Academy. Ash apologizes to Arven for the delay, but they can finally make their way towards the next Herba Mystica. The group rides Koraidon to go face the Titan, unaware that Zerk and Anya follow closely behind, waiting for this exact moment. Episode 37. After healing at the Pokemon Center, the group have begun their search for the Stony Cliff Titan. At first, nothing seems unusual until Nemona notices the cliffs moving. It's Titan Cloth! Arven has Quaxley use Water Gun, demanding Cloth to show them the Herba Mystica. Cloth uses Rock Slide. However, Arven notices a wild Knackley in its path, and quickly saves it. Cloth tries to flee, but the group chases after it. Arven has Smoliv use Sweet Scent to slow it down, while Quaxley attacks again. As the group prepares to join the battle, Koraidon gets trapped. Zerk and Anya have arrived. The group battles the explorers to free Koraidon, and Arven hesitates as Cloth begins to get away. He decides to help, and with the group's combined strength, the explorers are defeated. Zerk and Anya retreat, vowing to come back for Koraidon. The group is relieved, however, Cloth has escaped during the commotion. This causes Arven to lash out, frustrated about the constant delays. The group is taken aback, with Ash trying to reassure him, but Arven storms off in anger. Later that night, the group sets up camp in a cave. Arven returns and apologizes for his outburst, admitting his friends didn't know how serious things are. The group forgives him, but Penny asks why the Herba Mystica is so important to him. Arven takes a deep breath, and as he begins to share his story, Knackley quietly listens from the cave's entrance. Arven reveals his first partner, Mabosstiff. Growing up, Mabosstiff was Arven's only companion, as his parents were too busy with their research to care for him. Left alone, Arven developed a passion for cooking, with Mabosstiff's favorite meal being sandwiches. One day, Arven was fed up with his parents' absence, so he went into Area 0 to bring them home. There, he was attacked by a terrifying mechanical serpent-like creature that gravely injured Mabosstiff. Since then, Mabosstiff has struggled to recover. Arven has tried everything: potions, Pokemon centers, countless remedies, but nothing has worked. His last hope is in the Herba Mystica, described in his mother's Scarlet book. He explains its miraculous healing properties, and how consuming all 5 can heal any ailment, which is why he needs to find them all. Deeply moved, Ash, Nemona, and Penny finally understand and vow to help Arven and Mabosstiff. Suddenly, a swarm of Ghastly attacks, attracted by the campfire. Inspired by Arven's story, Nacli jumps in to protect the group, resisting thanks to his Purifying Salt ability, and then fends them off with Rock Throw. Before the group can thank it, Nacli nervously flees. Soon after, as the group prepares to rest, Arven reflects on Nacli's bravery, wondering if he'll return. Outside the cave though, Nacli quietly watches them before going off. Meanwhile, Zerk and Anya contact their superior, requesting their help. With Titan Claw in their sights, they patiently wait for the return of Ash and his friends. Episode 38. It's a new day, and the group sets off to find Titan Claw. Meanwhile, we focus on Team Rocket, who have arrived at the abandoned Shedder Squad base. Jesse, James, and Meowth are proud of their Paldean progress. They've kept the second base operational to avoid suspicion, they've converted the Navi base into a Pokemon storage facility, and now they're planning to turn the Shedder base into a Team Rocket training facility. Eager to impress Giovanni, they contact him with an update. Giovanni is pleased with their initiative, and promises to send reinforcements to strengthen their operations. However, he warns them to keep delivering results or face consequences. Determined to prove themselves, the trio vows to make Team Rocket the most powerful force in Paldea. While organizing the base, James finds an old map labeled Mela's Treasure. Meowth suggests it could be something valuable for Giovanni. Excited, Team Rocket begin their search, but some Shedder Squad grunts return, looking for the map. Thinking quickly, the trio uses their student disguises, claiming they came here because they want to join Team Star. The grunts are skeptical, especially since their base has been disbanded, but then challenge Jessalyn and Jamie when they spot them holding the map. Jessalyn and Jamie send out Tinkatink and Capsakid, with Capsakid biting James before the battle. Though Tinkatink is a crybaby, she holds her own. Meanwhile, Capsakid struggles against the Fire-type Pokemon, prompting Jesse to call it a weak link. James defends Capsakid though, saying he just needs a chance to prove himself. Inspired by James's encouragement, Capsakid learns Seed Bomb, surprising everyone. With its new move, the duo defeats the grunts, who flee the base. After the battle, James praises Capsakid for its growth, earning another affectionate bite. Following the map, the trio finds Mela's treasure, a Firestone. Jessie speculates that Mela saved it for her Pokemon, but James gets nostalgic, thinking this would be perfect for his childhood partner Growly. This has him quietly reflecting on his past, and wondering if there's more to his life than serving Giovanni. In honor of Growly, James promises to save the Firestone for a worthy Pokemon. As the trio continues to improve the base, we focus back on Ash and his friends. They close in on Titan Claw's location, while Zerk and Anya reunite with their superior, the Secret Explorer. With their help, they plan to finally overpower Ash's group and capture Koraidon by force. Episode 39. Ash and his friends reach Titan Claw's new location, determined to get the Herba Mystica. Just as they prepare to battle, Claw escapes again. Before they can give chase, Zerk and Anya ambush them, demanding Koraidon. Realizing the importance of the Herba Mystica now, Nemona and Penny volunteer to hold off the explorers, allowing Ash and Arven to pursue Claw. Arven thanks them before the two set off. As Ash and Arven close in on Claw, they're stopped again by the explorer's Ceruledge. Recognizing the threat, Ash decides to stay behind with Koraidon, reassuring Arven that the explorers aren't after him, and emphasizes Mabosstiff's need for the Herba Mystica. Arven agrees and makes his way towards Claw alone. Ash battles Ceruledge with low kicks, surprising the secret explorer, but he terrestrializes low kicks to remove his fire-type weakness. As Arven reaches Claw, it consumes the Herba Mystica, powering up for battle. With Smoliv and Quaxly, Arven lands Sweet Sense and Water Gun, but Claw retaliates with Vice Grip. Smoliv uses Leech Seed, while Quaxly uses Low Kick, but Claw's flinching Rock Slide, followed by Metal Claw, defeats Smoliv and weakens Quaxly. Arven is about to lose. Ash and Low Kicks battle fiercely against Ceruledge. Low Kicks lands Throat Chop, but Ceruledge recovers with Bitter Blade. Using a showdown mode double kick on the ground, low kicks creates a dust cloud to mess with Cerulej's vision, but it counters with Phantom Force for a devastating blow. Though weakened, low kicks refuses to give up. Meanwhile, Arven faces Clof's final attack. Just before Metal Claw strikes, however, Nacli appears with Smackdown, saving the day. Nacli's mud shot slows Clof down, allowing Quaxly's low kick to turn the tide. Clof uses Rock Slide on Arven, but Nacli's headbutt gets him out of the way. Though hurt, Arven gets an idea. He attacks the cliff from behind to trigger a Rock Slide, defeating Clof. Victorious, Arven secures the Herba Mystica, while Nemona and Penny also defeat the Explorers. Back to Ash, low kicks lands Bug Buzz, but it's nearly defeated by Cerulej's Bitter Blade. Cerulej then aims for Koraidon, but Pikachu counters with Iron Tail. Arven then arrives, riding the subdued Clof and using the Herba Mystica to make him attack Cerulej. With Zerkanania defeated and Clof being a wildcard now, the Secret Explorer decides to retreat. Nemona and Penny then arrive to properly finish off Clof. Back at the cave camp, Arven makes sandwiches with the sweet Herba Mystica, feeding one to Mabosstiff, who opens his eyes for the first time, making Arven emotional. The group is relieved. Nacli then returns, showing its interest, so Arven properly thanks it by officially catching it. As the group celebrates, Koraidon eats Ash's sandwich, causing it to power up. It shows off its new ability to swim by jumping in the river, and after lunch, the group all ride Koraidon to return to the academy. Later, the explorers regroup, as Zerkanania apologize for their failure. Their superior warns them not to let Hamber know about this. He orders them to get stronger, while he resumes his mission of observing Liko's charm. As the explorers part ways, the secret explorer steps out of the shadows, revealing his true identity, a Methio. Back at the academy, as Arven recounts their adventures, Liko excitedly invites a Methio to listen, unaware of his true allegiance to the explorers. Episode 40. It's career day at Mesagoza Academy, with guest speakers showcasing Pokemon-related careers. Freed, an Academy alumnus, champion-ranked trainer, and Pokemon professor, inspires students by sharing his adventures with his crew, the Rising Volt Tacklers. The event motivates the students to pursue their goals. Nemona wants to start her battle club, Arven wants to heal Mabosstiff, and Roy once again dreams of becoming an adventurer like the one with the Black Rayquaza described in the Violet book. However, Ash feels uncertain, reflecting on his dream of becoming a Pokemon Master and still not figuring out what that truly means. Despite all of his accomplishments, the answer still feels out of reach. After school, Ash takes a walk, seeking clarity, when he's approached by Freed. Their Pikachu share a friendly interaction, and Freed asks Ash what's troubling him. Ash explains how he's struggling with his dream of becoming a Pokemon Master. As he speaks, Ash reflects on his journey so far, his battles, victories, and friendships, but realizes he's unsure how these fit into his ultimate goal. Freed relates to him, sharing how he once felt lost and directionless working in a lab until meeting his unique Pikachu, who reignited his passion. Inspired, Ash remembers his own goal of broadening his horizons here in Paldea. Freed then challenges Ash to a Pokemon battle in order to lift his spirits. Ash and Freed have a one-on-one battle, Pikachu versus Captain Pikachu. Ash starts with Thunderbolt, but Freed uses Double Team. Ash counters with Quick Attack, taking down the clones. Just as he targets the real Cap, Freed commences Thunder Punch, knocking Pikachu back. Ash quickly uses Electro Web to restrict Cap, allowing Pikachu to land Iron Tail. Freed then uses Double Team again, but Pikachu's Thunderbolt clears the field. Cap surprises them from behind though, and uses Volt Tackle, but Pikachu uses Iron Tail on the ground to absorb the impact. Impressed, Freed unleashes the Rising Volt Tackle, creating a vortex that propels Cap into the air. Pikachu responds with Electro Web, but Cap easily dodges and counters with another Volt Tackle, and then lands gracefully. Ash then decides to terrestrialize Pikachu, landing a boosted Thunderbolt. Cap withstands the hit, and then Freed terrestrializes him into a flying type. Ash goes for another Thunderbolt, but it's dodged with the Rising Volt Tackle, and using a Flying Terra Blast from the air, Cap delivers the final blow. Though defeated, Ash feels a newfound spark of determination. He thanks Pikachu and praises Freed's strength. He eagerly asks Freed for a rematch, and Freed promises another battle before he leaves at the end of the week. Suddenly, Dot calls Ash. She gathers everyone to meet her uncle, Murdoch, the Rising Volt Tackler's chef. Murdoch is happy to see her, though Dot's embarrassed by his overbearing nature. Penny relates, being reminded of her father. Dot properly introduces everyone to the Rising Voltaclers, and reveals she actually spent the summer with them before enrolling in the academy. Roy uses this chance to ask Freed if he's found any treasures linked to the ancient adventurer. Freed knows about the legend, but hasn't found anything yet, though he does mention rumors of ancient ruins near Alfrenata. He says he'll look into it, exciting Roy, while Ash and Pikachu look forward to their rematch. Episode 41. While Ash and Pikachu train for their rematch with Freed, Nemona meets with Director Clavel to propose a Pokemon Battle Club for the Academy. Clavel supports the idea, suggesting a future collaboration with Jesselyn and Jamie to incorporate their star training centers. However, Jesselyn and Jamie say that it'll be a while before that can happen. Nemona announces the Battle Club, but only her friends join. Disheartened, she approaches students around the school to recruit, but faces repeated rejections. Finally, one student tells her what's the point of joining the club if Nemona's just gonna wipe the floor with them. Nemona realizes her skill is discouraging others. Her friends brainstorm ways to make the club more appealing. Penny suggests showcasing fun battles with teachers to inspire the students. Nemona loves the idea, and after proposing it to Clavel, he agrees and schedules a battle with Salvatore, a popular teacher at the academy. To promote the event, Dot gets the support of the Rising Voltaclers. Arven suggests baking treats to draw in a crowd, and Murdoch joins him. While baking, Murdoch is impressed by Arven's culinary skills and knowledge of balancing flavors. Arven shares that his passion for cooking comes from wanting to make food that strengthens both people and Pokemon. Murdoch encourages Arven to consider becoming his protege, but Arven explains that he's focused on his current goals. Murdoch respects his decision, offering mentorship whenever Arven is ready. The treats are a big hit, drawing students to the event. Nidothing even appears to stream the battle, boosting the Battle Club's visibility. With an excited crowd gathered, Nemona faces Salvatore in a one-on-one battle. Pomo versus Alolan Raichu. Raichu begins with Psychic, delivering heavy damage to Pomo. Pomo counters with Thunder Punch, but Raichu uses Surf to maintain control. Pomo dodges with Dig, but is hit mid-strike by Electro Ball. Nemona commands Discharge, but Raichu avoids it with an Aerial Thunder attack. The students are surprised to see Nemona backed into a corner. Meanwhile, Nemona is enjoying this intense battle. Determined, Pomo evolves into Palmot, stunning the crowd. Fueled by evolution, Palmot uses Dig to avoid Psychic and lands a decisive Thunder Punch to defeat Raichu. The crowd erupts in cheers, inspired by the intense battle. Students rush to Nemona, eager to join the Battle Club, marking its official start with a surge of new members. Episode 42. Ash, Liko, and Roy train on the beach near the Brave Olivine, focusing on Ash and Pikachu's strategy for their rematch with Freed and Cap. Ash works on countering aerial Pokemon by using Iron Tail to propel Pikachu into the air. Despite their best efforts, Pikachu struggles to match Cap's mobility. Their training is interrupted when Ash's Finizen friend returns, clearly distressed, with an injured friend. Molly, the Rising Voltacler's doctor, treats the injured Finizen, while Liko hesitates, doubting her ability to help. Molly reassures her, offering to teach Liko how to read Pokemon's cues. Finizen urges the group to follow it into the ocean. With Koraidon's help, they head to the South Paldean Sea near Secluded Beach. As they make their way, however, Ludlow watches from atop the ship. The group is attacked by invasive Basculin. Molly explains that Basculin are not native to this area, and their presence disrupts the ecosystem. The group fends off the attackers, but discovers more Basculin attacking Finizen's pod members. After a rescue effort, they retreat to the beach to tend to their injuries. Liko helps Molly calm the frightened Finizen, earning its trust and praise for her growing ability to understand Pokemon. Meanwhile, Ash and Roy follow Finizen to locate the last pod member, but before they're taken to Molly, they're ambushed by Dragalge. The powerful attackers overwhelm Koraidon, leaving the boys struggling to defend themselves. Ludlow watches from afar, and with nobody around to see him, he transforms into his alter ego, Mighty G, Defender of the Seas. With heroic skill, he rides a Sharpedo to battle and repels a Dragalge, inspiring Ash, Roy, and even Finizen. They have an intense battle, with Roy's Watchful learning Electro Ball, and together, they drive off the invasive Pokemon. Mighty G then departs, vowing to protect the seas, leaving Ash, Roy, and Finizen in awe. Back at the beach, Molly finishes healing the pod, and the Finizen then decide to head out to find a safer home. Liko notices Ash's Finizen friend lingering, however, looking back at Ash with admiration before rejoining his group. Back aboard the Brave Olivine, the group recount their adventure, while Molly wonders why invasive Pokemon have appeared. Ludlow then returns, cryptically complaining about his sore body. Meanwhile, per Roy's request, Fried is researching the rumored Alfrenata ruins. He reunites with his former teacher, Luca, Liko's mother, who begins sharing her insights into the mysterious location. Episode 43. Ash finishes math class with time, eager to resume his training with Pikachu. After school, Penny and Dot ask Ash why he doesn't train at Nemona's battle club. Ash explains he's working on a specific technique that isn't ready for battles yet. This catches Jamie's attention, who secretly alerts Jesselyn. The two decide to spy on Ash to observe his training. Ash demonstrates his idea, using Iron Tail to propel Pikachu in the air. He explains that while Pikachu has improved at soaring, he still struggles with maneuvering mid-air. Reflecting on his battle with Fried, Ash notes how Cap's Rising Volt Tackle not only launched him, but allowed him to almost float as he fell. Penny suggests they need a way to simulate battle scenarios to refine the technique. Dot actually remembers that Orla, the Rising Volt Tackler's engineer, once worked on an advanced training machine, and suggests they visit her at the Brave Olivine. Intrigued, Ash and Penny agree, while Jesselyn and Jamie follow. At the ship, Orla introduces them to her incomplete super training prototype, based on an idea from a Kalos inventor that was never finished due to its complexity. Orla had tried reverse engineering it, but hit a roadblock. Penny, recalling super training from a database she hacked into in the past, offers to help. The two collaborate. Orla focuses on mechanical upgrades, while Penny programs an AI module. After trial and error, they perfect the device. Orla's impressed by Penny's coding skills, and Penny gains confidence seeing her contributions come to life. The super training device is finally ready. It creates holographic Pokemon that hover and move unpredictably, while Pikachu is tied to balloons to simulate aerial mobility. Pikachu struggles at first, spinning wildly in the air. Ash recalls how Cap uses his tail to stabilize his movements and advises Pikachu to do the same. Under pressure from the holographic Pokemon, Pikachu adapts, using Iron Tail for balance while countering with Thunderbolts. After intense training, Pikachu masters mid-air control, weaving seamlessly through the targets. Ash cheers, thanking Penny, Orla, and Dot for their help. Confident Pikachu is ready for the rematch with Fried, Ash is determined to overcome Cap's Rising Volt Tackle. Meanwhile, Jesselyn and Jamie grin in the shadows, sending footage to Team Rocket's Paldea Training Center, where plans to replicate the super training device begins. Episode 44. Fried returns from his research quest, and before sharing his findings with Roy, he honors his promise to give Ash a rematch. On the Brave Olivine, Ash gathers his friends for the battle. Pikachu versus Captain Pikachu. Ash begins with Quick Attack, but Cap evades using Double Team. Pikachu counters by clearing the clones with Thunderbolt, but Cap sneaks in with Thunder Punch. Anticipating this, Ash commands Electro Web, followed by Iron Tail. Fried notes Pikachu's Iron Tail is stronger than before. The battle intensifies as Pikachu and Cap trade Quick Attack and Thunder Punch. They're evenly matched. Fried then commands the Rising Volt Tackle, but Ash is ready. Cap uses a normal Terra Blast mid-air, and Ash has Pikachu use Iron Tail on the ground, propelling it skyward. Pikachu controls its aerial movements to land a hit, impressing everyone, especially Nemona and Amethio. Fired up, Fried commands Double Team again, with Cap landing a Thunder Punch from above, catching Pikachu off guard. Fried then follows with Volt Tackle, while Pikachu uses Iron Tail to dodge. Cap uses the Rising Volt Tackle though, using the Vortex to disrupt Pikachu's mobility. Cap then ascends, leaving Pikachu struggling. Fried praises Ash's efforts, but claims Cap is the true master of the skies. He terrestrializes Cap mid-air and launches Terra Blast, knocking Pikachu down. Weakened but determined, Ash doesn't terrestrialize this time, but instead activates Pikachu's partner power. Being cautious, Fried commands the Rising Volt Tackle once again. Ash then makes Pikachu take to the skies using Iron Tail, but this time Pikachu spins rapidly, creating a unique floating motion. Fried realizes this isn't just Iron Tail, it's a completely new move. Cap launches Terra Blast, but Pikachu gracefully dodges and lands a strike, which Ash names Floaty Fall. The impact causes Cap to flinch, and Pikachu finishes with Pika Papow. Ash hugs Pikachu, celebrating their victory, as Fried praises their bond for creating a whole new move. He tells Ash that being a great trainer is about growing alongside his Pokemon. Ash takes this to heart, realizing his bond with Pikachu and the rest of his Pokemon might be the key to becoming a Pokemon Master. He thanks Fried for guiding him toward the answer. Before the Rising Volt Tacklers leave Paldea, Fried shares his findings. Dragon worshippers once lived in Alfrenata Cavern, possibly leaving treasures behind. Roy, Liko, and Dot eagerly plan their next adventure, with Liko and Ash using this chance to battle Tulip and Alfornada. Amethio declines Liko's offer to join them, however. Meanwhile, Jessalyn and Jamie quietly plot to find the treasure first. The episode ends with the Rising Voltaclers promising to keep in touch and return someday, as they set off for new adventures. Episode 45. The group arrives in Alfornada, eager for their next challenges. Before exploring the Alfornada cavern, Liko and Ash are excited for their battles with Tulip. Liko reflects on her past failure in the Terastal Basic test, but feels more confident in her bond with Sprigatito now. At the gym, they meet Tulip, who greets Liko warmly and is introduced to Ash. Liko requests a rematch for the Terastal Basic test. Tulip acknowledges the growth in her bond with Sprigatito, but suggests Liko take the emotional spectrum practice to prove how in sync they truly are. They reunite with Dendra, who is actually a good friend of Tulip's. She helps coordinate the ESP class, and explains its purpose, to help trainers and Pokemon align emotionally for better performance. Dot eagerly records this session for her Needle-themed content, capturing both Liko and Sprigatito's progress as they go through the exercises, including expressing emotions like joy, anger, and focus. The session challenges Liko to trust Sprigatito's instincts, rather than overthinking. Ash, Roy, Dot, and their Pokemon join in, adding lighthearted moments that strengthen the group's bond. By the end of the session, Tulip is impressed with Liko's progress, and grants her a rematch. They have a one-on-one battle. It's Sprigatito versus Farigiraf, Tulip's evolved Girafarig. This intimidates Liko a bit, but then remembers to trust Sprigatito. Both trainers terrestrialize. Liko starts with Quick Attack, landing the first hit, but Farigiraf barely flinches. Tulip counters with a boosted Twin Beam, pushing Sprigatito back. Liko responds with Acrobatics, dodging Farigiraf's Stomp. However, Tulip sets up Reflect, weakening Sprigatito's next attack. Farigiraf uses Crunch, lowering Sprigatito's defense, leaving Liko struggling. Staying calm, she remembers the lesson she's learned, and commands a boosted Leafage, blinding Farigiraf briefly and causes it to miss its next Twin Beam. As Farigiraf retaliates with Stomp, Liko shifts to a boosted Energy Ball, landing a solid hit. Twin Beam and Leafage then collide, obscuring Farigiraf's vision again. Liko and Sprigatito lock eyes, fully in sync, and Liko commands Sprigatito to sneak behind and deliver a final Energy Ball, securing the win. Tulip praises Liko's growth and bond with Sprigatito, declaring she has passed her Terastal Basic test. Impressed, Tulip gives Liko a temperamental Flittle, confident in her ability to raise it. Liko thanks Tulip, and her friends celebrate. Ash then steps forward, revealing his Inspector badge to challenge Tulip to an Inspector battle. Tulip smiles, ready to face Ash with her full strength. Episode 46. The group gathers to watch Ash's inspection battle against Tulip. Tulip is intrigued to see Ash instead of Geeta, relieved to avoid her rigid critiques. Ash explains his role as a gym inspector, emphasizing his belief in growing and learning alongside Pokemon. Tulip appreciates his fresh perspective, eagerly accepting his challenge. They agree on a 2-on-2 unrestricted battle, starting with Low Kicks versus Espathra. Low Kick starts with Throat Chop for super effective damage, but Tulip responds with Reflect, weakening the attack. Ash then shifts to Bug Buzz, targeting Espathra's special defense. Espathra counters with Dazzling Gleam, blinding Low Kicks and dealing significant damage. Tulip then switches to Florges. Low Kick strikes with another Throat Chop, but Reflect's effects still linger. Florges retaliates with Moonblast, forcing Ash to switch into Charlos. Charlos uses Fire Spin, but Florges counters with Light Screen, solidifying his defenses by now reducing damage from special attacks. Florges then strikes with Petal Blizzard to push Charlos back. Tulip anticipates Ash's next move and switches back to Espathra. Tulip's tactical switching frustrates Ash, but he regains focus. Espathra uses Lumina Crash, harshly lowering Charlos' special defense. Feeling pressured, Ash terrestrializes Charlos. A boosted Flamethrower is used to knock Espathra back, but it retaliates with Shadow Ball. Charlos then traps Espathra with Fire Spin, allowing it to land a decisive Flamethrower to defeat Espathra. Tulip sends Florges back out, and terrestrializes it into a Psychic type. Charlos fires another Flamethrower, but Florges dodges and uses a boosted Psychic to defeat Charlos. The final round is Low Kicks versus Florges. With Reflect gone, Ash commands Double Kick, but Florges counters with Petal Blizzard, knocking Low Kicks back. Low Kicks responds with Throat Chop, only to be met with Moonblast, dealing heavy damage. Seeing Low Kick struggling, Ash encourages it to use Showdown mode, increasing its speed and force at the cost of stamina. Low Kick's next double kick strikes with amplified power. Tulip counters with another Moonblast, but Low Kick's dodges with blinding speed, following up with Throat Chop, disrupting Florges' Petal Blizzard. As Low Kick's stamina wanes, Tulip commands a final Moonblast barrage, but Low Kicks pushes through, activating its Swarm ability. With a burst of energy, Low Kicks learns Lunge, breaking through the barrage of Florges to land a decisive hit. Both Pokemon stare each other down, and then faint at the same time, resulting in a draw. Tulip praises Ash's unpredictable battle style, finding it refreshing compared to Geeta's rigid approach. Despite the tie, Ash's positivity inspires his friends, who worry about his loss. Ash teaches them that even experienced trainers face challenges, but can grow from them. The episode ends on a hopeful note, with Ash and Low Kicks resolving to refine their use of Showdown mode for future battles. Episode 47. Needlething's video on the emotional spectrum practice is a hit. Even Zerk from the Explorers enjoys it, until Amethio and Ani arrive. They're in Alfornada to target Liko's Charm and Ash's Koraidon. With Ash traveling with his weakest friends, Liko, Roy, and Dot, Amethio sees a chance to strike and finally impress Master Gibeon. The group begins exploring Alfornada Cavern, guided by Freed's notes. They learn of the rumored ruins, where a sacred artifact that crash-landed centuries ago was revered by dragon worshippers as a divine gift. The worshippers build ruins around it, fostering dragon Pokemon as protectors. Roy rushes ahead, eager to find the treasure, while Liko points out dragon carvings along the walls. Dot speculates that following them may lead to the ruins, while Ash reminds everyone to stay focused and stick together. As they go deeper, they encounter Jessalyn and Jamie, who nervously explain that they were inspired by Freed's story and decided to explore on their own. Roy excitedly suggests they team up, increasing their chances of finding treasure. As the group ventures further, the atmosphere grows tense. Roars echo through the cavern, and suddenly, Wild Gabite, Shelgon, and Zweilous attack. The chaos splits the group. Ash is with Dot, Roy is with Jessalyn, and Liko's with Jamie. Each pair retreats into narrow tunnels, as the dragon carvings become more intricate and the dragons attack more fiercely. Roy and Jessalyn fend off multiple Shelgon, with Fuecoco struggling against their defenses. Jessalyn's Tingatink helps with its fairy-type moves though. Ash and Dot battle a swarm of Zweilous, their erratic movements overwhelming at first. Ash guides Dot, helping her strategize and drive them back. Meanwhile, Liko and Jamie face Gabite, with Jamie analyzing the dragon's patterns to create openings. Liko's impressed by Jamie's skill and teamwork. Roy and Jessalyn reach the ruin's deepest chamber, where an altar lies, guarded by a Druddigan. Despite Jessalyn's caution, Roy is determined to prove himself. Fuecoco battles fiercely, but struggles to make an impact. Encouraged by Roy's determination, Fuecoco learns Flamethrower to defeat Druddigan. The Guardian retreats, allowing Roy to retrieve an ancient Pokeball from the altar. Roy is thrilled about his new treasure, and can't wait to show his friends. He wonders if a Pokemon is inside of it, however, he suddenly hears a commotion. Zerk and Anya have ambushed Liko for her pendant. As Roy and Jessalyn rush to help, Ash and Dot face their own struggles. They are confronted by Cerulege, who targets Ash's Koraidon. Unbeknownst to them, Amethio secretly orchestrates the assault from the shadows. Episode 48. Liko and Jamie face off against Zerk and Anya, struggling against their newfound strength. Zerk reveals that they've trained against Titan Cloth, vowing to not fail on their mission to claim Liko's charm. Just as Liko is overwhelmed, Roy and Jessalyn arrive to back them up. Jessalyn and Jamie exchange a knowing look. They both suspect that the strange power of Liko's charm is significant, and if another organization wants it, then they must protect it for themselves. Jessalyn decides to help, ensuring the charm doesn't fall into enemy hands. Liko thanks them, and she and Roy begin to retreat. Zerk and Anya, frustrated by the unexpected help, notify their superior to prevent their escape. As Liko and Roy flee, they notice Liko's pendant and Roy's ancient Pokeball resonate briefly, glowing faintly. Liko questions the connection, and Roy reveals the ancient Pokeball he found. There's no time for answers though, as they need to escape. Meanwhile, Ash and Dot face off against Cerulege, whose speed and power push them back. Dot apologizes for holding Ash back, but he reassures her and takes charge with Charlos. Despite being intimidated by his evolved form, Charlos trusts Ash. Amethio receives Zerk and Anya's call about Liko's escape, and frustrated, he leaves Cerulege to deal with Koraidon as he pursues her. As Liko and Roy continue their retreat, Amethio sends out Salamence from the shadows. Stunned, Liko and Roy realize they have no choice but to battle. Cerulege vanishes with Phantom Force, landing a devastating Night Slash. Overwhelmed, Ash struggles until Dot gains the confidence to use Smokescreen, allowing Charlos to counter with Nightshade. Cerulege retaliates with Bitter Blade, weakening Charlos and knocking out Dot's Cyndaquil. Charlos struggles, but refuses to give up. Ash then starts to sense something familiar stir within Charlos, as his eyes ignite with fiery blue energy. Ash commands a supercharged flamethrower, delivering a powerful blow that pushes Cerulege back. However, Charlos loses control of his newfound power, and reverts back to normal before causing harm. Ash wonders if this is Charlos' aura. Back to Liko and Roy, they continue to face the Explorer Salamence. Sprigatito and Fuecoco fight valiantly, but Salamance's overwhelming strength and Dragon Claw pushes them to the brink. Liko realizes that without Ash, she must take the lead, and encourages Sprigatito, who evolves into Florigato. Amethio briefly hesitates, seeing Liko's determination. Using Florigato's new move, Magical Leaf, alongside Fuecoco's flamethrower, they briefly push Salamence back, but its Dragon Pulse overpowers them. As Salamence prepares the final blow, Liko clutches her pendant, pleading for help, while Roy grips the ancient Pokeball. Both relics glow, emitting a radiant light that stops Salamence mid-attack. Everyone watches in awe, as the cavern trembles due to the resonance. Episode 49. The radiant glow from Liko's pendant and Roy's ancient Pokeball intensifies, illuminating the cavern. Tremors grow as a burst of energy erupts from the ancient Pokeball, releasing a black Rayquaza. Its overwhelming presence stuns everyone as it roars, sending shockwaves through the cavern. Roy is in disbelief that the ancient Pokeball contains such a powerful Pokemon. Before anyone can process what's happening, Rayquaza unleashes Draco Meteor, defeating Florigato and Fuecoco instantly. The explorers, realizing they're outmatched, retreat, while Jessalyn and Jamie are sent blasting off. Ash thinks there's something familiar about that, but quickly has to refocus on the threat. Roy tries to return Rayquaza to its ancient Pokeball, but it doesn't work. It then locks its gaze on Liko and fires a Dragon Pulse. Ash commands Pikachu to intercept with Thunderbolt, protecting Liko just in time. Ash realizes it's up to him to stop Rayquaza's rampage. As Rayquaza uses another Draco Meteor, Ash commands Iron Tail, using the Draco Meteor climb to dodge. Ash then commands Floaty Fall, but the move fails. Ash starts to realize that it may only work with their partner power. Intrigued by Pikachu, Rayquaza uses Extreme Speed, overpowering Pikachu's Quick Attack. Pikachu lands Thunderbolt, but Rayquaza is barely phased, and retaliates with Dragon Ascent, delivering major damage, leaving Pikachu weakened. Determined not to give up, Ash and Pikachu unleash their partner power. Rayquaza uses Extreme Speed, but Pikachu matches its speed with Zippy Zap. Rayquaza uses Dragon Pulse, but Pikachu uses Floaty Fall to dodge. This time it works, confirming Ash's theory. Rayquaza follows with another Dragon Ascent, knocking Pikachu back. Pikachu then uses Electro Web, but Rayquaza dodges and uses Draco Meteor. Pikachu uses Floaty Fall to dodge, and after striking, Ash commands a finishing Pika-Papow. Rayquaza is still standing, however, and the attack has drained Pikachu's stamina. Just as the group fears they've lost, Rayquaza stops, respecting Pikachu's strength. It then gives Liko one last look before bursting through the cavern ceiling, vanishing into the sky. The group is stunned by this experience, but also relieved that they're okay. Even Jessalyn and Jamie call to confirm that they're fine. Back at the academy, the group shares their experience. While the others are in disbelief, Roy excitedly speculates that the Black Rayquaza might be the same one described in the Violet book. He's now motivated to catch Rayquaza the next time they meet, but deep down, he questions if he's truly ready for such a task. Meanwhile, Amethio reports to the Explorers admins. Their boss, Gibeon, scolds Amethio for failing to observe Liko's charm discreetly, jeopardizing the mission with his repeated confrontations. Amethio defends himself, blaming Rayquaza's interference, but Spinel mocks him, dismissing the excuse. Gibeon reprimands Amethio further, stating his actions have alerted Liko and her friends. As a result, he reassigns the mission to Spinel. Upset, Amethio storms off, while Spinel confidently vows to succeed and earn Gibeon's trust. At the same time, Jesse and James report their explorers' encounter to Giovanni. Intrigued, Giovanni instructs them to monitor the group closely, as he wants no competition when it's time to conquer the Paldea region. Episode 50. Nemona's battle club plans a promotional battle against Nurse Miriam to encourage students to join the Academy Dorm Tournament. She explains that the Naranja and Uva dorms compete, with the winner advancing to the Academy Ace Tournament against the teachers next term. Ash and his friends are excited, but Nemona receives an urgent call from Gita. Gym leader Kofu has stopped accepting challengers, and Gita wants her to go to Koskarafa to investigate why. Torn between her duties, Nemona hesitates, but Ash steps up as a gym inspector to investigate. Penny and Dot stay to assist Nemona, while Ash is joined by Arven, Roy, and Liko. Arven reveals that there are rumors of a Titan Pokemon near the Asado Desert, while Roy and Liko are after the Black Rayquaza, who was seen headed towards West Paldea after the Alfornada encounter. The group arrives in Koskarafa, only to find the city struggling under a restless sandstorm and heat wave. The once bustling marketplace is quiet, and the streets are nearly deserted. At Kofu's restaurant, they meet the gym leader, who looks stressed. He explains that the storm started a week ago, and has cut off trainers from reaching his gym. Even his restaurant is suffering, as the intense heat causes fresh seafood to spoil quickly. Kofu recalls seeing a Black Rayquaza flying towards the Asado Desert just before the storm began, leading the group to suspect the connection. Determined to investigate, they ride Koraidon towards the Asado Desert, but are quickly overwhelmed. The sandstorm blinds them, and the scorching heat drains their energy. Struggling to continue, they follow a river towards a hidden oasis, where they unexpectedly reunite with Ash's Finizen friend. Finizen and its pod have made the oasis their new home, but the worsening weather has forced many Pokemon to seek refuge here, leading to territorial conflicts. Acting as protectors, Finizen's pod defends the weaker Pokemon and maintains order. Ash and Roy note how Finizen has grown stronger, clearly inspired by Mighty G. Suddenly, a horde of rampaging Tauros, led by a blazing breed Tauros, charges into the oasis, attempting to claim it for themselves. The group jumps in to protect the Pokemon. Liko sends off Little, but her temperamental nature leads it to act recklessly. She realizes that this will really test her understanding of Pokemon's feelings. Arven's Smoliv uses Sweet Scent to slow the Tauros, while Nacli's Rock Throw trips them up, and Roy's Wattrel attempts electric attacks, but the Sandstorm weakens its accuracy. The Finizen use Rain Dance to temporarily clear the storm, allowing Ash and Finizen to team up. With perfect synchronization, Finizen lands a devastating Aqua Jet combined with Pikachu's Thunderbolt to force the Tauros to retreat. After the battle, Ash promises Finizen that he will find the source of the storm and restore peace to their home. But Finizen isn't satisfied with waiting. He wants to join Ash on his quest. Seeing his determination, Ash decides to catch Finizen, officially adding it to his team. Episode 51. With Finizen's Rain Dance, the group shields themselves from the sandstorm and scorching heat. As they approach the center, Arven suspects the Swirling Sands Titan is responsible, but is confused by the extreme heat, which wasn't in his research. At the eye of the storm, the culprit is revealed, a strange Pokemon resembling Magneton. Enraged, it restores the sandstorm and attacks. The group battles, expecting a Steel-type opponent, but are caught off guard. Some moves land, but others are failing. The Titan unleashes Earth Power, pushing everyone back. Arven, finally recognizing the Pokemon from the Scarlet book, identifies it as Sandy Shocks, an electric and ground type. Suddenly, a loud screech fills the air as a massive Volcarona descends. With Sunny Day, it counters the sandstorm, turning the battlefield into a blazing inferno. Roy notices Volcarona's holding an ancient Pokeball, identical to the one that he has. The sun seems to power Sandy Shocks, making the Titans' battle more intense. Just then, a mysterious Donphan-like Pokemon charges in, using Rollout and Flash Cannon to blind the Titans. Before they can react, a woman leads them to safety. It's Arven's mother, Professor Sada. At the Oasis, Sada properly introduces herself to everyone, and has a wholesome reunion with Koraidon. The group thank her and are intrigued by her Pokemon, who Sada introduces as Great Tusk, a Paradox Pokemon. Sada explains that Paradox Pokemon originate from different points in time, and how Koraidon, Great Tusk, and even Sandy Shocks are Pokemon from the distant past. This revelation shocks the group. Before she explains further, Arven confronts her. Why return now, after all these years? Sada hesitates, but reveals her mission. She's capturing escaped Paradox Pokemon before they destroy the ecosystem. Roy asks about the Volcarona with the ancient Pokeball, but Sada knows little other than it appeared a week ago battling Sandy Shocks over territory, causing the dangerous sandstorm. She asks for the group's help in separating the Titans so she can capture Sandy Shocks. Arven scoffs. He doesn't care about Paradox Pokemon, he cares about Mabostiff. He tells her how he went into Area Zero looking for her, and nearly lost Mabostiff in the process. That's why he's searching for the Herba Mystica, to fix what she left broken. Arven then storms off. Liko hesitates, but firmly tells Sada that she needs to apologize to Arven. She reminds Sada that while her mission is important, so is her son. Realizing her failures, Sada continues explaining. She and her husband, Professor Turo, were once united by their love of Paradox Pokemon. She admired the Scarlet Book's past Pokemon, while Turo was obsessed with the future Pokemon of the Violet Book. Their work led to them creating a time machine, bringing their first success, Koraidon, to the present. At first, Koraidon lived with them in Poco Path as part of their family, but when the explorers learned of its existence, they tried to take it. To protect Koraidon, Sada and Turo left to live in Area Zero. They buried themselves in their research, with the hope of one day creating a world where Paradox Pokemon can peacefully coexist in the present. But in doing so, they left Arven behind. This led to Arven's resentment towards Koraidon, as he blamed it for his family falling apart. Ash now understands why Arven didn't like talking about Koraidon's past. Roy asks where Turo is now, and Sada reveals that their passion for research became a conflict. Powerful Paradox Pokemon were escaping Area Zero, becoming a major threat. Sada left to stop the past Paradox Pokemon, while Turo remained in Area Zero, fixated on bringing future Pokemon to the present. They haven't spoken in 2 years. With Liko's words still in her mind, Sada finally seeks out Arven, attempting to apologize. But Arven isn't ready to forgive. However, he does agree to help her, but only if Sandy Shocks leads them to the Herba Mystica. With tensions unresolved, but a common goal set, the group prepares to separate the Titans and end the chaos. Episode 52. The group devises a plan to separate the Titan Pokemon. Sada reveals that most Paradox Pokemon, including Sandy Shocks, have the ability Photosynthesis, which increases their power in harsh sunlight. This is why they must split it from Volcarona. Liko and Roy volunteer to battle Volcarona, intrigued by its ancient Pokeball and its possible connection to the Black Rayquaza, while the rest face Sandy Shocks. Tracking the raging Titans, the group launches an attack to get their attention. The strategy works. Ash, Arven, and Sada ride Koraidon, baiting Sandy Shocks away, while Liko and Roy draw Volcarona's focus. Now the real battles begin. Ash uses Finizen, relying on its speed and agility with Aqua Jet and Acrobatics. Arven uses Quaxly, determined to prove himself despite his conflicted feelings about working with Sada. Sada commands Great Tusk, using it as a shield against Sandy Shocks' electrical attacks. At first, Arven and Sada struggle to work together. Their attacks aren't coordinated, allowing Sandy Shocks to land Earth Power on Quaxly and discharge on Finizen before fleeing into the sandstorm. Frustrated, Arven snaps at Sada, blaming her for everything. Ash steps in, reminding Arven that now isn't the time for resentment, but Bostif needs the Herba Mystica. Sada, despite everything, tells Arven she trusts his abilities, just like his father did. The group finds Sandy Shocks just as it's consuming the sour Herba Mystica, causing its body to surge with energy. The battle is fierce. The ground quakes with Earth Power, but Ash commands Finizen to dodge with Aqua Jet, striking from above, and while Quaxly uses Water Gun. Sandy Shocks counters with Metal Sound, disorienting everyone. Sada then orders Great Tusk to block discharge, but Quaxly is still hit. Arven encourages Quaxly to get back up. He doesn't want to lose here, not in front of his mother. Sandy Shocks then prepares to use Earth Power, but Quaxly pushes itself to evolve into Quaxwell. It dodges gracefully, and lands its new move, Aqua Cutter. Sada watches, realizing how much Arven has grown without her. Finizen follows up with Water Pulse, confusing Sandy Shocks, and then Great Tusk lands Stomping Tantrum to stun the Titan. Sandy Shocks goes for one more discharge, but Great Tusk protects everyone. With one final attack from all three, Sandy Shocks is defeated, allowing Sada to capture it. Arven claims the sour Herba Mystica, making sandwiches for Mabostif and Koraidon. As Mabostif eats, its strength returns, and it finally speaks. Overjoyed, Arven tears up, having not heard its voice in a long time. Quietly, he thanks Sada for helping him get the Herba Mystica, acknowledging how much Mabostif needed it. Sada watches as Koraidon perks up, and gently tells Arven not to blame it, taking responsibility for her actions. After a pause, Sada tries to apologize again. Arven, though still hurt, doesn't lash out. He's not ready to forgive, but he's tired of being angry. There's a quiet understanding between them, not healed, but respected. The episode ends with the group searching for Liko and Roy, when suddenly, Koraidon roars and starts climbing atop the cliff, revealing its new ability. From higher ground, they spot Liko and Roy's battle in the distance. Episode 53. With the sandstorm gone, Liko and Roy realize Ash's group succeeded. Now it's their turn to stop the heat wave. They recall their struggle against Rayquaza and Alfrenada. realizing they can't keep relying on Ash to win their battles. Fuecoco's Flamethrower and Florigato's Magical Leaf land, but Volcarona shrugs it off. Quattro's Electro Ball is then disrupted by Bug Buzz. Wooper's Water Pulse hits, but Fiery Dance scorches the battlefield. Outmatched, they refuse to give up. Flittle hovers behind Liko, refusing to listen. It ignores Pluck and recklessly uses Uproar, only to be struck by Gust. Liko's frustration builds, as Volcarona notices their disconnect. A powerful Fiery Dance erupts, pushing everyone back, but the flames spread towards the Oasis, endangering the Pokemon. Instead of attacking, Liko and Roy act immediately, using their Pokemon to put out the flames, while Florigato shields the frightened Pokemon. Seeing Liko risk herself, Flittle finally helps, using Confusion to redirect the lingering flames. Impressed by their compassion, Volcarona calms down, using Gust to extinguish the fire. The harsh sunlight begins to fade. Ash and the others then arrive just as the battle ends. Liko thanks Volcarona, explaining they only wanted to protect the Oasis Pokemon. Volcarona approves, gazing at Liko, then her charm begins to glow, transforming into a mysterious Pokemon. Suddenly, Volcarona creates a sphere of energy, engulfing the group in a mist-filled vision. They briefly see a silhouette of a person standing beside Volcarona. The moment vanishes, and Liko's charm reverts to normal. Then, in a final act, Volcarona returns to its ancient Pokeball, which lands at Liko's feet. She tries opening the ancient Pokeball, but it doesn't work. Ash believes Volcarona wants to join them, and that they should keep it. Liko and Roy realize that they've earned its trust. The group questions what just happened, but Sada may have some answers. She finds it intriguing that Roy mentioned the Black Rayquaza and the ancient Pokeball, theorizing a possible connection to the Violet Book. Roy, thinking the same thing, pulls out the Violet Book. He shares that growing up in a town filled with old legends and folktales made him naturally drawn to stories like these. He then reads the Violet Book aloud. The first chapter describes the ancient adventurer, who Heath met in Area 0. He was accompanied by a Black Rayquaza, and was said to be the strongest trainer to ever live. The second chapter details his 8 hero Pokemon, each with unique roles: swimming uncharted waters, striking with lightning, roaming the earth, bringing warmth to the land, fighting with unwavering resolve, roaring across the horizon, carrying love to the heavens, and commanding the skies. The third chapter reveals the adventurer's goal: to find a legendary paradise hidden within Area 0. Roy believes Volcarona matches the description of bringing warmth to the land, meaning it and Rayquaza once belonged to the ancient adventurer. That leaves 6 more hero Pokemon to discover. Sada notes how Heath's expedition was split into 2 books: the Scarlet Book, a more grounded and factual account, and the Violet Book, filled with myths and speculation. Considering what they just witnessed, perhaps the Violet Book isn't so outlandish after all. She mentions how this discovery would thrill her husband. Before departing, Sada thanks the group for their help and tells Arven how proud she is. She's glad he's found such great friends and believes they're headed towards greater discoveries than she and Turo ever imagined. With that, Sada continues her mission to capture Paradox Pokemon while the group returns to the Oasis, unaware that Spinel has been watching them all along. Episode 54. With peace restored to the desert, Ash and his friends return to the Oasis, having fulfilled their promise to finish Zen's pod. The group enjoys some well-earned downtime, playing with the Pokemon and reflecting on their adventure. Meanwhile, back at the academy, the students eagerly anticipate the Battle Club's next promotional battle, Nemona versus Nurse Miriam. Penny notices Giacomo being aloof. Since returning to the academy, Giacomo has felt out of place. He sees how everyone loves Nemona as student council president, yet when he had the role, people disliked him for being too strict. Penny wants to help, but is too scared to interact with him directly. She reaches out to Nemona and asks to recruit him for the Battle Club, as it will be a great way to help him make new friends. Nemona, who's always eager to bring strong trainers into the Battle Club, pushes Giacomo to join. Giacomo gets defensive, calling her battle crazy and saying she wouldn't understand his struggles. He claims battling isn't for everyone, pointing out that not all students thrive under pressure like her. Nemona fires back, saying battling is about passion, not pressure, and that he's just making excuses. They butt heads, neither willing to back down. Penny watches the argument nervously, realizing Nemona's direct approach won't work. Instead of directly convincing Giacomo, Dot suggests a different way. When it's time for Nemona's battle, Dot streams once again as Needlething, so Giacomo can watch without being pressured. The battle begins, and it's Dartrix versus Meganium, who Miriam reveals was a gift from the Academy's sister school. Dartrix uses Leaf Blade, but Meganium counters with Petal Blizzard to push back. Nemona then commands Air Slash for super effective damage, but Meganium retaliates with Giga Drain, holding its ground. Miriam then uses Body Press, but Dartrix dodges with Shadow Sneak, landing a quick attack. Meganium counters with Disarming Voice, shaking Dartrix. Nemona then goes all out with Brave Bird. Meganium tries to disrupt it with Petal Blizzard, but it's overpowered. Meganium is defeated and Nemona wins. Miriam praises Nemona's talent, while Nemona tells the students that battling is about pushing past your limits. Giacomo sees Nemona in a new light, realizing she genuinely wants to bring out the best in others. After the match, Giacomo approaches Nemona, agreeing to join her battle club. Nemona is thrilled and promises he'll have a lot of fun. With the students hyped from the battle, Nemona officially announces the annual Academy Dorm Tournament, set for the end of the first school term next week. Giacomo is interested, eager to test his strength against the Naranja dorm. Back at the Oasis, Ash believes it's time to say goodbye to Finizen. His friends are surprised, noting how close they've become. As they prepare to leave for Cascarafa, Ash tells Finizen that he can now enjoy a peaceful life after defeating Sandy Shocks. Finizen uses Aqua Jet, catching up to Ash. With a grin, Ash realizes Finizen has chosen to stay with him. Episode 55. 2 days have passed since the sandstorm cleared, and Kofu thanks Ash and his friends for their help, relieved that Cascarafa is back to normal. Ash uses this opportunity to challenge Kofu to an inspection battle, but Kofu, surprised by the request, explains that he needs to catch up on his work at the restaurant first. The group volunteers to help, assisting in the kitchen and serving customers. Suddenly, Kofu receives a notification about a rare Wakame seaweed being auctioned at Puerto Marinada. He entrusts Ash and Roy with his wallet, asking them to win the bidding while Arven and Liko stay behind. Unbeknownst to Kofu, the message was sent by Spinel as a ploy to separate the group. Ash and Roy ride Koraidon across the desert, reaching Puerto Marinada's marketplace. They compete in the bidding, but a determined buyer keeps outbidding them, and eventually wins the auction. Not wanting to return empty-handed, Ash and Roy try to negotiate, mentioning it's for Kofu. The trainer actually admires the gym leader, so he offers a deal. Defeat him in battle, and the seaweed is theirs. Ash prepares to battle, but Roy steps in, suggesting Ash save his strength for his inspection battle. Back at the restaurant, Liko impresses Arven with her cooking skills. She explains she learned from her mother, leading to a discussion about their different upbringings. Liko had a caring mother, while Arven grew up neglected. Liko tries cheering up Arven by mentioning Sara's apology, and Arven admits he overheard Liko standing up for him. This sparks a sincere moment that deepens their friendship. At Puerto Marinada, Roy battles the trainer's Cloyster with Fuecoco, struggling against its water-type attacks. It fights intensely until getting hit with Razor Shell, and then Fuecoco is down. Roy encourages it not to give up, however, and starts to do his chant, and Fuecoco evolves into Crocolore. Now stronger, Crocolore counters with a devastating flamethrower, winning the battle. Impressed, the trainer admits that he never actually wanted the seaweed. He reveals that someone paid him to win the bidding. Ash and Roy seem concerned, but know Kofu is waiting, so they rush back with the seaweed. At the restaurant, Liko continues working, carrying food towards the table, when a customer accidentally bumps into her. It's Spinel in disguise. Liko spills the food on the floor. Spinel apologizes and helps Liko clean up, but in that brief moment, he swipes Liko's charm from her pocket. Flustered about her mistake, Liko thanks him, unaware of what just happened. Spinel nods politely and exits the restaurant. Ash and Roy then return, handing over the Wakame seaweed to Kofu. Just as everyone celebrates, Liko suddenly realizes her charm is missing. The group frantically searches, but it's gone. Outside the restaurant, Spinel smirks, clutching his prize in his hands. Episode 56. Liko desperately searches for her missing charm, sending her Pokemon to help, except for Flittle, who remains distant. Ash reassures her, while Kofu checks the restaurant security cameras. The footage reveals the suspicious man in glasses who bumped into Liko moments before her charm vanished. Now knowing their suspect, the group rushes outside and spots Spinel walking through the crowd. When Liko calls out to him, Spinel smirks and activates holographic illusions, creating clones to mask his escape. The group loses track of him. Determined to recover the charm, they split up. Ash and Liko search the main plaza, while Roy and Arven investigate the market district. Meanwhile, Spinel returns to his base of operations in a hidden warehouse, amused that while Amethio failed to capture the charm, he succeeded effortlessly. He begins analyzing it, intrigued by its mysterious energy. As Ash and Liko continue their search, Liko explains the importance of her charm. It was a gift from her grandmother, a symbol of trust meant to help her face her fear by trusting Pokemon. Hearing this, Flittle starts to take notice, sensing Liko's sincerity. Liko's emotions reach her charm, which begins to resonate. Koraidon, having been exposed to its energy before, is able to sense its presence and leads Ash and Liko to the outskirts of town. Inside a van in a warehouse, they find Spinel. Amused by their persistence, Spinel introduces himself as a member of the Explorers, the very group that's been hunting Liko since her treasure hunt began. Without hesitation, he sends out Metagross and Magnezone. Ash calls out Charlos and Pikachu, while Liko uses Floragato and Wooper. Floragato lunges with acrobatics, but Metagross tanks it and counters with Meteor Mash. Pikachu and Charlos fight back, only for Magnezone to unleash Zap Cannon. Wooper lands Mud Shot, but a double Flash Cannon from Spinel knocks them back. Flittle watches silently as Liko, under pressure, trusts her Pokemon to pull through. Moved by this, Flittle uses Confusion to stealthily retrieve the charm mid-battle, floating it back to Liko's hand. Furious, Spinel orders a fierce counterattack. Roy and Arven arrive though. Crocodile blasts Flamethrower at Metagross, and Quaxwell lands a sharp blow on Magnezone. Outnumbered, Spinel snarls before activating a Smoke Bomb, retreating into the shadows. Later, back at the restaurant, Kofu is relieved that the situation is resolved. Liko thanks everyone, as Flittle, for the first time, silently shows its trust. Ash notes how different Spinel was from the past explorers they faced. He's more cunning and more dangerous. He says if this is the kind of opponent they'll be facing, they need to be more ready. Episode 57. With the restaurant duties finally handled, Kofu is ready to accept Ash's inspection battle. They agreed to a 3-on-3 unrestricted battle, starting with Pikachu versus Crabominable, Kofu's ace Pokemon. Pikachu lands a solid Thunderbolt, and Crabominable retaliates with Dynamic Punch. Pikachu dodges and uses Electro Web, but Crabominable powers through with Stomping Tantrum. Ash commands Iron Tail, but Kofu grins and commands Ice Punch. Crabominable tanks the hit to grab Pikachu with its Icy Claw, delivering a direct blow that freezes Pikachu solid. Ash is stunned and brings Pikachu back, forced to rethink his strategy. Ash sends out Finizen, who uses Rain Dance to boost its power. Crabominable charges with Dynamic Punch, but Finizen dodges by landing a clean acrobatics mid-air. Hoping to turn the tide, Kofu sends out Veluza, who sets up with Filet-Away, raising its speed and power. Finizen lands a Water Pulse, but Veluza counters with Psycho Cut, and then follows with Aqua Jet, gaining the upper hand. Ash returns Finizen for now, but noticing Pikachu is still frozen, realizes Low Kicks is his last option. Low Kicks opens with Lunge, hitting for super effective damage. Veluza responds with Aqua Jet, but Ash uses Showdown mode, dodging with speed and landing a power double kick. Kofu commands another Aqua Jet, but Low Kicks weakens the blow with Bug Buzz. With Veluza weakened, Kofu commands one final Night Slash, while Ash counters with Throat Chop. In the end, Veluza goes down. Crabominable returns, and determined to finish this quick, Kofu terrestrializes it into a water type. Crabominable uses Ice Punch, but Low Kicks dodges and uses Lunge. Crabominable tanks the hit though, and lands a boosted Crab Hammer. With Kofu going all out, Ash makes Low Kicks enter Showdown mode again, and commands Double Kick. The first kick lands, but the second is countered by Dynamic Punch, defeating Low Kicks. Ash thanks Low Kicks for its hard work, and then sends Finizen back out, while Kofu switches to Clawitzer. Both Pokemon clash with Aqua Jet, and seem evenly matched. Clawitzer then responds with Dragon Pulse, dealing solid damage thanks to its Mega Launcher ability. Finizen uses Water Pulse, disorienting Clawitzer, who gets confused. Clawitzer tries to retaliate with Dark Pulse, but misses due to confusion. Finizen closes in by striking with Acrobatics, and finishes off Clawitzer with another Water Pulse. Kofu is now down to his last Pokemon, Crabominable. Finizen uses Aqua Jet, quickly going in and out of the water to strike. Crabominable uses Stomping Tantrum to stop the attack. Ash shifts to Water Pulse, but Crabominable follows with Ice Punch. Finizen dodges, but the attack freezes the water, limiting Finizen's movements. Then, a boosted Crab Hammer nearly defeats it. Seeing Pikachu is still down, Finizen refuses to give up, fighting to protect his friend. Touched by his determination, Ash terrestrializes Finizen. Kofu goes for Crab Hammer, but Finizen zips through with a boosted Aqua Jet, dodging and striking from every angle. Kofu orders Dynamic Punch, but Finizen counters with a final Water Pulse. Both moves collide. The explosion breaks the ice, and when the smoke clears, Finizen is still standing. Volton Veluza, exclaims Kofu, stunned by the outcome. He praises Ash's strategy and Finizen's spirit. Ash thanks Finizen for fighting extra hard for Pikachu. After the battle, as Ash and his friends prepare to return to the academy, far away, the explorers gather. Spinel reports on the powers of Liko's charm, as well as the encounter with the Paradox Pokemon, but leaves out his failure to retrieve the charm. With this new intel, Hamber assigns new missions. Spinel is to officially pursue the charm. Chalice is to target the roaming Paradox Pokemon, and Coral and Sidian are to investigate the rumors of the Black Rayquaza to see if there's any truth to Amethio's claims. Meanwhile, Amethio trains intensely, reflecting on Rayquaza and its possible connection to Liko. Determined to face it to uncover the truth, he sends out his newly evolved Hisuian Samurott to continue his training. Episode 58. With the Academy Dorm Tournament just around the corner, Nemona and Dendra organize a special trip for the Battle Club to get everyone fired up. They'll be spectating Paldea's P1 Grand Prix, held in Zapapico. The students are excited, but no one more than Ash. On the way, Ash shares his memories of competing in a P1 Grand Prix years ago, and how he left his Primeape with a man named Anthony, who promised to train it into a true champion. When they arrive, Ash is surprised. Anthony is competing, and right beside him is Primeape, looking stronger than ever. Anthony is now the undefeated P1 champion, and announces that this will be his final tournament before retiring. The students watch in awe as intense battles unfold, showcasing powerful fighting-type Pokemon. In the finals, Anthony and Primeape dominate and take the championship once again. Primeape hears Ash cheering from the crowd, and is thrilled to see him. After the event, Ash reunites with both Anthony and Primeape. They share an emotional hug after so many years apart. Anthony is happy to see Ash again, and reveals he's retiring to focus on his family, but says that Primeape still has a lot of fight left in him. He kept his promise. Primeape is now a top-tier P1 champion, and he believes now's the perfect time for Primeape to return to Ash. Touched, Ash thanks Anthony for everything, and officially welcomes Primeape back to his team. Wanting to test Primeape's strength for himself, Ash wants to battle. Nemona eagerly steps up, but Dendra cuts in, equally fired up. She proposes a friendly exhibition battle to inspire the students, reminding them that they'll get to face the teachers if they win the dorm tournament. Ash agrees. It's a one-on-one match, Primeape versus Minxiao. Dendra starts with Bounce, going for a surprise aerial attack. Ash stays calm and commands Thunder Punch. Primeape launches upward, intercepting Minxiao midair with a perfectly timed blow. Minxiao follows by using Drain Punch, but Primeape sidesteps and strikes with a clean cross chop, sending Minxiao back. Dendra is really impressed, but fires back with Rock Tomb, trying to slow Primeape down, but Ash commands Thrash. Primeape barrels through the rocks and slams into Minxiao with wild strength. Staggering, Minxiao goes for high jump kick, and though it's confused, Ash has Primeape catch him midair and counters with a devastating seismic toss. Minxiao is down. Ash and Primeape win. The students erupt in applause. Anthony praises Ash and Primeape's synergy, saying their high-level experience matches perfectly. Ash smiles, telling Primeape how proud he is and that he's excited for the battles that they'll be facing together. Episode 59. Ash happily introduces Primeape to the rest of his team. Pikachu is thrilled, but the others are cautious, intimidated by Primeape's intense expression. To break the tension, Primeape snatches Ash's cap and strikes a goofy pose. The team bursts out laughing, and Ash begins their training for the Academy Dorm Tournament. Meanwhile, we focus on Team Rocket, who have been busy on their newly completed training facility. Using their reverse-engineered super training device, they've whipped Giovanni's new grunt into shape. Their veteran Pokemon are also stronger than ever, but their Paldean Pokemon, not so much. Jessie's Tinkatink is still especially emotional, always bursting into tears. Jessie comforts her with dramatic flair, saying Tinkatink will toughen up if it's the last thing she does. Now that the grunts are ready, Jessie and James decide it's time to strengthen their forces with powerful terrestrialized Pokemon. They lead the grunts into a series of Terra Raid battles across Paldea, defeating and capturing Terra Pokemon one after another. Everything is going smoothly until Clavel calls. He congratulates Jesselyn and Jamie on their hard work on the Star Training Centers, but notes they've yet to submit an entry to the Academy Dorm Tournament. He insists they participate to show students the benefits of the training centers. Jessie and James panic, realizing they've been so focused on Team Rocket, they completely forgot about their student cover. If they don't show results, their cover could be blown. With no time to waste, they should focus on their less experienced Pokemon. James trains with Capsicum and Gimmighoul, while Jessie tries to boost Tinkatink's confidence. To inspire them, Team Rocket takes on their toughest challenge yet, a 5-star Terrasteel Hydreigon. It's an intense battle, even for the grunts. Gimmighoul's attacks barely scratch it, and Tinkatink freezes in fear. But when Hydreigon lunges at Jessie, Tinkatink throws herself in the way, resisting Dragon Claw with her fairy typing. With the new confidence she gained to protect her trainer, she lands a brutal swing and evolves into Tinkatuff. Gimmighoul, moved by her bravery, learns to use Shadow Ball. Jessie and James then terastallize their Pokemon to land a finishing blow. The grunts cheer as Hydreigon is caught. At the new Team Rocket storage base in Tag Tree Thicket, Jessie and James celebrate with the squad. They get ready to return to Mesagoza to prepare for the tournament, leaving the grunts in charge of super training the new Pokemon while they're away. But as the grunts begin locking up their captures, Hydreigon uses a parting Fire Blast on the trio as a last act of revenge, sending them blasting off. Episode 60. Nemona's Battle Club has been a great help in Giacomo's return to Academy life. With the dorm tournament approaching, he hopes his fellow star bosses, Mela and Atticus, might join too. But there's a problem. They've missed too many classes and must pass the upcoming term exams to be eligible to compete. Determined to help, Giacomo turns to Penny, the Academy's top math student. Though shy and hesitant, Penny agrees after Ash offers to support her. With Gary's permission, they organize a study group in one of the classrooms, with Penny nervously leading and Ash offering encouragement when needed. However, Mela grows frustrated with the lessons and storms off. Giacomo sighs, but Penny urges Ash to go after her while she continues with Atticus. She admits that despite Operation Starfall's goal to disband Team Star, she genuinely wants to help them find their place in the Academy. Ash, recalling Penny's own past with bullying, understands and heads off to find Mela. At the courtyard, Ash finds her admiring a small garden. Mela confesses that she's unsure if she belongs at the Academy, and her struggles with math only make her feel worse. Ash gently reminds her that her friends, including himself and Charlos, don't want her to be left behind. If she passes, Ash even offers to let her borrow Charlos for the tournament. Mela is surprised, touched by Ash's offer. Ash adds that Charlos would be happy to battle alongside her for old time's sake. Inspired by Ash and Charlos' support, she agrees to give studying another shot. Meanwhile, Penny finds an unexpected connection with Atticus. She cleverly shows him how math is essential for cosplay designing, calculating patterns, and budgeting materials. Watching Atticus engage with genuine interest lifts Penny's spirits and boosts her confidence. When Mela returns, Penny patiently tutors her, using simple tips without judgment. Slowly, Mela and Atticus warm up to her, cracking jokes and asking questions. Penny realizes that they're not just her study partners, they're becoming real friends. Her shyness around them begins to melt. As the study session continues into the night, Liko calls Amethio, having noticed his long absence recently. She tries to catch up with him, reminds him of the exams, and asks if he's joining the tournament. Amethio declines and hangs up on Liko. After being removed from the Explorer's mission, he sees no reason to return to the Academy anymore. But during his training, he reconsiders. If he joins the tournament, he might face Ash. Seeing it as a chance to grow stronger and get revenge, he calls Liko back and confirms his participation. The next day, after the exams, the results are revealed. Everyone passed. Mela and Atticus are now eligible for the tournament, and Giacomo is proud of them. As Penny receives their thanks, she smiles, quietly proud that her new friends are starting to feel like they belong. Episode 61. It's time for the Academy Dorm Tournament. Clavel delivers a rousing speech, commending students on their growth in the first term, before officially kicking off the Scarlet vs Violet showdown. A preliminary round is held, where students battle one-on-one to determine who will advance. The top 6 students from each dorm, based on win records, move on to the main bracket. The matches are intense, with everyone giving it their all. Mela surprises everyone with her skill, battling fiercely using Ash's Charlos. Dot also stands out, now more confident and polished in her strategies. When asked about her improvement, she credits Nemona's Battle Club, as well as watching and analyzing battle videos to prepare. The biggest shock comes from Atticus' battle against Amethio, where Amethio reveals his newly evolved Hisuian Samurott and defeats Atticus with ease. The group is stunned by his power and more intrigued with this unique form. Even Clavel is surprised, realizing the partner Pokemon from the Academy's sister school might have been rarer than initially thought. Nemona is the most excited of the group. She confesses she's always wanted to battle Amethio, but he would always refuse. This tournament could finally give her chance. The advancing students are revealed. The top Scarlet students are Ash and Nemona, who are undefeated, followed by Penny, Mela, Jesselyn, and Arven. For the Violet dorm, it's Amethio, who was also undefeated, Giacomo, Dot, Liko, Roy, and Jamie. Atticus was just one win shy of making the cut, but his loss against Amethio took him out. He takes the loss well though, saying he had a lot of fun and will cheer for his friends. With the bracket set, Dendra explains the rules. The tournament is a team battle consisting of single elimination, one-on-one battles. Each dorm selects a captain to decide the matchups, and only one terrestrialization is allowed per dorm for the entire tournament. The team that successfully eliminates all students from the opposing dorm is the winner. Scarlet dorm easily elects Nemona. Though Ash tied her record, he insists she lead, saying the student council president is the perfect captain. Touched, Nemona happily accepts. Meanwhile, Violet dorm struggles to decide, as Amethio declines Liko's offer for leadership, keeping to himself. Giacomo, with the second best preliminary record, is elected captain instead. To everyone's surprise, both captains decide to kick things off themselves. It's Nemona versus Giacomo, a battle between student council presidents. Nemona uses Palma, while Giacomo uses his evolved King Gambit. Nemona is impressed, reminded of La Primera's King Gambit. Giacomo starts with Katao Cleave, hitting hard. Palma counters with Dig, scoring a clean super effective strike. King Gambit retaliates with Iron Head, knocking Palma down but exciting Nemona. She shares her dream of being as great as Champion Gita, and how this battle will bring her one step closer. She commands Discharge, while Giacomo counters with Stone Edge. Both land, and King Gambit is paralyzed. Seizing the moment, Palma charges Focus Punch while tanking a Dark Pulse, and then lands the final blow. Scarlet dorm takes round 1. Both captains praise each other's skills before switching out. Nemona chooses Arven to battle, while Giacomo picks Liko. Both are excited to face each other. Round 2 is Floragato versus Quaxwell. Quaxwell opens with Aqua Cutter, landing a hit, but Floragato fires back with Energy Ball. Quaxwell gracefully dodges, however, and counters with Wing Attack. Arven claims that his Titan battles have made him stronger, even against type disadvantages. Liko briefly glances at Amethio, then sinks with Floragato. Quick Attack is used to chip away at Quaxwell. Floragato then uses Magical Leaf, and Quaxwell dodges, but Liko tells Floragato to redirect the attack, landing a critical hit. With Quaxwell weakened, Liko finishes it off with Energy Ball. Violet dorm takes round 2. Arven is impressed, and Liko thanks him. As the teams prepare for round 3, the score is tied 1-1. The energy in the courtyard is electric as the dorm tournament continues. Episode 62. The Academy Dorm Tournament continues as Violet Dorm keeps Liko on the field. Nemona chooses Mela to follow up with Scarlet Dorm, who enters with confidence, ready to make Ash proud using Charlos. Seeing the disadvantage, Liko switches from Floragato to Wooper, as Pokemon switching is allowed between rounds. The battle begins with Wooper launching Mud Shot to slow Charlos. Charlos retaliates with Clear Smog, landing a solid hit and removing the effects. Wooper answers with Water Pulse, briefly confusing Charlos, only for Mela's encouragement to snap him out of it. Ash smiles, knowing how strong their bond is thanks to their long friendship. Mela commands Fire Spin to trap Wooper. Liko uses Poison Tail, but the flames wear Wooper down. Charlos follows up with Nightshade for steady damage. Frustrated, Liko questions how she's losing despite the type advantage. But Wooper, refusing to give up, unleashes a new move, Sludge Wave. The powerful strike nearly takes down Charlos, but he endures it and ends the battle with Flamethrower. Scarlet Dorm takes round 3. Liko compliments Mela's battle skills. Mela, who's flustered, gives credit to Ash for raising Charlos so strongly. Ash is impressed, saying their teamwork was awesome. For round 4, Mela stays in for Scarlet Dorm, while Violet Dorm chooses Roy, who sends out Crocolore. It's a Fire-type showdown. Charlos opens with Fire Spin, trapping Crocolore, but Roy sings with Crocolore to boost their sync, and counters with Disarming Voice. Charlos follows with Nightshade, but Crocolore tanks it and uses a Flinching Bite, allowing for another Disarming Voice once again. Mela orders Flamethrower, but Roy chants again using Crocolore's matching Flamethrower to overpower it in a fiery clash. As a last resort, Mela calls for Charlos' blue power-up flame that he used with Ash, but it fails. Crocolore lands a finishing strike, and Violet Dorm ties the score 2-2. Mela returns Charlos to Ash, thankful for the chance to battle with him again, but realizes she couldn't bring out Charlos' full potential the way Ash can. Ash encourages her though, saying her bond with Charlos is just as meaningful. As the Scarlet Dorm plans their next matchups, Nemona subtly steers things to set up a potential battle with Amethio, quietly aiming for a challenge that might push her to the limit. For round 5, Violet Dorm keeps Roy in, while Nemona, ready to blow this tournament wide open, picks Ash for the Scarlet Dorm. Roy braces himself, as Ash uses low kicks despite the type disadvantage. Crocolore opens strong with Flamethrower, pushing low kicks back. Ash activates low kick showdown mode for a boosted double kick, then quickly reverts back to normal to conserve stamina. Roy counters with Disarming Voice, but low kick strikes with showdown mode again, using Throat Chop to disable sound-based attacks. Crocolore uses Bite, but Bug Buzz disorients it, followed by another burst of showdown mode double kick. Roy tries chanting to get in sync again, but Crocalor can't even sing due to throat chop. Nemona's impressed with Ash's strategy. He's in complete control of the battle. Crocalor, pushed to its limits, activates Blaze and lands a powerful flamethrower. But Ash times one last burst. A Showdown mode lunge is used, knocking Crocalor out. Ash and Lokix have gotten closer to mastering Showdown mode, and the tournament heats up with the Scarlet Dorm now leading 3-2. Episode 63. As the Academy Dorm tournament continues, Amethyl steps forward, prepared to finally face Ash, but Nemona surprises everyone by calling Ash back, saying he's already done his part by giving them the lead. Because of this, Amethyl steps back. For round 6, it's Jesselyn versus Jamie. The two stare each other down, eager to prove who's the strongest. Meowth and Wobbuffet fly in just in time to cheer them on. The battle begins with Tinkertuff versus Gimmighoul. Gimmighoul opens with Shadow Ball. Tinkertuff counters with Metal Claw, landing a hit and boosting its attack. Gimmighoul then uses Protect, blocking Fairy Wind. Jesselyn stays calm, waiting for another opening. When Gimmighoul uses Astonish, Tinkertuff hangs on and follows with Metal Claw. Jamie tries one final Shadow Ball, but Tinkertuff charges through and finishes the fight with Brutal Swing. Scarlet Dorm now leads 4-2. Meowth proudly points out how much Tinkertuff has grown. For round 7, Scarlet Dorm keeps Jesselyn in, while Violet Dorm sends in Dot, who uses Cyndaquil. Tinkertuff opens with Fairy Wind, but Cyndaquil spins in with Flame Wheel, causing burn damage. Despite the damage, Tinkertuff answers with Brutal Swing, knocking Cyndaquil back. Dot calmly uses Extrasensory to disorient Tinkertuff, then Swift to chip away. Tinkertuff manages to flinch Cyndaquil with Astonish though, and hits back with another Brutal Swing. Violet Dorm begins to worry, but Dot observes carefully, and tells Cyndaquil to use Extrasensory again, targeting Tinkertuff's hammer. The plan works. Tinkertuff is caught off guard, and Cyndaquil ends the battle with a final Flame Wheel. Violet Dorm takes the win, making it 4-3. Jesselyn is frustrated, but proud of Tinkertuff. Liko and Roy cheer for Dot, impressed by her growth. Blushing, Dot credits her friends, then refocuses, aware that the toughest battles are still ahead. Nemona picks Penny to battle for Scarlet, while Dot stays in for Violet. It's Cyndaquil versus Shiny Eevee, surprising many students. Penny declares that she's done hiding her true self, and Dot, ready to prove herself, accepts the challenge. Cyndaquil opens with Flame Wheel, but Eevee softens the blow with Baby Doll Eyes. Dot tries to keep her at a distance with Swift, but Eevee charges in with Quick Attack. Cyndaquil uses Extrasensory, only for Eevee to use Copycat and send it right back. Surprised at first, Dot smiles, and shifts to chip damage with Ember, while Penny keeps Cyndaquil's attack low with Baby Doll Eyes. Dot adjusts, using Swift to bait Copycat, and it works, but the move is less effective. Dot smiles, having read Penny's rhythm and knowing that Eevee's special attack is weaker than Cyndaquil's. She then gambles on Flame Wheel, powering through its weakened stats. Penny counters with Hyper Voice, Eevee's strongest move, overpowering Cyndaquil. Penny praises Dot's strategy, but warns that Eevee's Hyper Voice hits harder than any of Cyndaquil's moves. Caught off guard, Dot starts to worry, but she refuses to give up. She wants to prove that she's no longer the timid girl that she once was, and dreams of being as strong as Iono. Moved by her resolve, Cyndaquil evolves into Quilava, shocking everyone. Now empowered, Quilava uses Flame Wheel. Eevee counters with another Hyper Voice. The moves collide, and both are blown back. When the dust settles, Quilava faints. Penny wins. Scarlet Dorm now leads 5-3. Penny praises Dot, saying her strategic pressure almost won. Dot smiles, proud of how far she's come. With only one Violet Dorm student left, the team now turns to their final hope, Amethyl. Episode 64. Amethyl steps up as the Violet Dorm's final competitor. If they're gonna win, he'll have to defeat Penny, Ash, and Nemona. Calm and composed, Amethyl keeps his eyes on one goal, defeating Ash. Penny stays in for the Scarlet Dorm. The battle begins with Jolteon versus Hisuian Samurott. The type advantage makes Violet Dorm nervous, but Liko remains confident in Amethyl's abilities. Jolteon opens with Magnet Rise to levitate, avoiding Samurott's Razor Shell, and then lands Thunder. Samurott tanks the hit and strikes back with Aerial Ace mid-air. Penny counters with Baby Doll Eyes to weaken its attack. Unfazed, Amethyl commands Ceaseless Edge, scattering spikes across the field. Jolteon fires Pin Missile, doing super effective damage, revealing it to be a Water and Dark type. Samurott retaliates with another Razor Shell, knocking Jolteon into the spikes. Penny gambles on Thunder again, but it misses. Amethyl seizes the moment and has Samurott finish with Hydro Cannon, knocking Jolteon out. The score narrows 5-4. Violet Dorm cheers, while Penny is shocked. She strategized carefully, but Amethyl still overwhelmed her. Nemona, fired up, steps in next. She's excited to finally face Amethyl and is ready to give it her all. The match begins with Dartrix versus Samurott. Dartrix uses Razor Leaf, but Samurott slashes through them with Ceaseless Edge, covering the field with spikes again. Dartrix dives in with Brave Bird, landing a big hit but taking recoil. Samurott counters with Aerial Ace. Dartrix sneaks in with Shadow Sneak, catching Samurott off guard. Samurott strikes back, however, with Razor Shell, sending Dartrix into the spikes and lowering its defense. Nemona presses forward with Leaf Blade, while Amethyl thinks about using Hydro Cannon but decides to wait for the right moment and commands Ceaseless Edge instead. The attacks are intense, with every clash fueling Nemona's excitement. This is the kind of battle that she lives for. She wonders if Amethyl might actually be a worthy rival just like Ash. Samurott's sword is then knocked out of its hand, catching it off guard. Similar to Dot's battle, the winning strike is clear and Nemona sees it. Yet she hesitates. If she attacks now, it's all over. Was this really all Amethyl had? She doesn't want the battle to end. Not yet. For that brief moment, her desire to savor the fight overshadows her instinct to win. This is enough for Amethyl and Samurott to recover. They then use Hydro Cannon, landing a direct hit. Dartrix is defeated. Violet Dorm ties the score 5-5. The students are stunned. Nemona, the Academy's strongest student, has fallen. Some begin to see her differently. Not unbeatable, but human. She congratulates Amethyl and admits she still has more to learn. Nemona returns to her team and apologizes for the loss. They cheer her on though, saying she was awesome. She thanks them, but deep down, something seems to be bothering her, and Ash is the only one to notice. The Scarlet Dorm now turns to their last hope, Ash. He steps forward to face Amethyl, but before the battle begins, he silently wonders to himself, did Nemona hold back on purpose? Episode 65. The courtyard buzzes with excitement as the Academy Dorm tournament reaches its climax. Liko eagerly watches as her two admired trainers face off. Ash versus Amethyl. Ash is excited and sends out Primeape, while Amethyl stays with Hisui and Samurott, fueled by the weight of his past failures. Ash opens with Cross Chop, aiming for the advantage. Amethyl quickly terrestrializes Samurott into a pure water type, however, removing his fighting type weakness. Samurott then lands a boosted Razor Shell on Primeape. He takes the hit and then counters with Thunder Punch, catching Amethyl off guard. He knows not to underestimate Ash and refocuses, using Ceaseless Edge to scatter spikes across the field. Primeape powers through with Thrash, battering Samurott with unpredictable blows, but soon gets confused. Samurott capitalizes with Aerial Ace, and Primeape stumbles, hurting itself in confusion. Ash tries calling out to snap him out of it, but it doesn't work. With only a short time together before they're years apart, Ash realizes their bond isn't strong enough yet. Thinking fast though, Ash orders Primeape to use Thunder Punch on himself, snapping him out of confusion. Ash then terrestrializes Primeape into a fighting type. Surprised, Amethyl adjusts and has Samurott use Hydro Cannon, clashing with Primeape's Cross Chop in an explosive exchange. Both Pokemon are worn down, Primeape from the constant damage and Samurott from earlier battles. Ash admits he's having fun, but Amethyl stays silent, reflecting on his past failures. Seeing Ash as his greatest obstacle, he questions how he'll ever face the Black Rayquaza or prove himself to Gibeon if he can't beat him here. Fueled by Amethyl's feelings, Samurott activates its Torn ability and lands a boosted Razor Shell. Liko shows concern, seeing Amethyl is more intense than usual. Ash counters with a boosted Cross Chop, but Samurott toughs it out, refusing to let Amethyl down. Samurott then uses Ceaseless Edge, landing a critical hit. This only enrages Primeape, activating its Anger Point ability, maxing out its power. Ash sees his chance. Samurott fires a final Hydro Cannon, but Primeape dodges, and then Ash orders a finishing Seismic Toss. Primeape grabs Samurott and slams it into the ground with all of its might. Samurott is defeated. The Scarlet Dorm wins the tournament. Ash rushes to Primeape, proud of their growth. He then smiles and thanks Amethyl for the battle, but he doesn't respond. Amethyl turns away in silence, his confidence shattered. Violet Dorm humbly accepts defeat, but congratulates their friends. Clavel also congratulates the Scarlet Dorm, granting them entry to next term's Academy Ace tournament. Later, Ash and friends plan for the upcoming school break. Nemona explains that most students either go home or travel, but invites them all to her place for training to keep the tournament momentum going. Everyone agrees. Jesselyn and Jamie decline, however, needing to focus on the star training centers. Nemona understands, and is excited to see their progress once finished, unaware that they've been secretly running Team Rocket bases. Liko calls Amethio, hoping to invite him too, but he doesn't answer. Humiliated by defeat and determined to grow stronger, Amethio seeks out Hamber and requests special training. The season ends with Amethio vowing to never return to the academy or waste his time again.